Open enrollment is going great. We're hitting record numbers. Thank you so much for this report. It really is amazing to see how the marketing is really shaping our enrollment around the city.
Salem Surround. Is your business hard to find online? Meet with a digital marketer today for ideas that will make your business stand out. Visit salemsurround.com.
Fight or flight? In Illinois, you've got both options. You can stay and fight, engage in local races, work to change things. Or you can vote with your feet. At leavingil.com, we help you build a smart exit plan so you know where to go, when to go, and how to do it right. Take our quick exit readiness assessment. Go to leavingil.com. That's leavingil.com. Or call 224-800-6979.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
The Dow Jones, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and the Russell make up for $1.6 trillion in wealth created today. The only thing that could offset it are the welfare roaches and the Democrat thieves that help them steal our money. We'll discuss that and so much more after Mike Scott in the news.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Scott in the QC Kinetics newsroom. An Illinois State Police trooper is charged with sexual assault in Tinley Park. Prosecutors say Douglas Lee drugged a bartender in August of 2025 and allegedly then took her to a Tinley Park hotel where investigators say he sexually assaulted her. He was not on duty at the time and was ordered held in jail while awaiting trial. Michigan Democrats heading to the polls today, choosing a nominee for Senate in a closely watched primary race.
Abdul El Sayed is the progressive. He wants to abolish ICE, cut off U.S. aid to Israel, and has made Medicare for All one of his signature issues. El Sayed has been leading in most of the polls, and Republicans would love to see him win because they believe he would give the GOP nominee Mike Rogers the best shot at picking up this seat.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson's budget director is stepping down. Annette Guzman is resigning to focus on family. Her departure comes just after the city's acting chief financial officer, Stephen Marr, resigned last week after only 8 months on the job. Cubs and Dodgers, Southsiders battle the Red Sox. The news, a service of the daily podcast of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Shaun Thompson Show. Subscribe free at 560theanswer.com/podcast. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Anthropic has reportedly reached a $10 billion deal with a new cloud startup backed by NVIDIA. AI giant Anthropic has been looking for more computing resources as demand for its products like Claude continue to grow. Caterpillar earnings exceeding Wall Street estimates as its heavy machinery and other products are used to build AI data centers. The century-old company says it earned more than $20 billion in sales and revenue last quarter, the first time it's ever done so. Spotify earning more revenue last quarter than a year ago, but failing to meet Wall Street estimates. The Swedish audio streamer now has 300 million premium subscribers. Wall Street ending Tuesday with a massive rally. The Dow skyrocketing 908 points, S&P gaining 136, NASDAQ surging 671. And that's your Fox Business Report. I'm Laura Cantor, invested in you.
Gas prices in Chicago are riding like a roller coaster. They go up, they come down. Well, they come down a little bit, but then they go back up again. AM 560 wants to help ease your pain at the pump. Listen each weekday afternoon at 12:30 and 5:30 for the lowest gas prices around Chicagoland. And if you see a low gas price, let us know. Just text the word gas to 312-642-5600, followed by the price and location, and we'll share it right here on AM 560. The Answer.
When it comes to supplements, two things matter most. A, that it works, and that you can trust it. Rather than just tell you about Relief Factor, we'll let our audience do that. We hear from people every single day whose lives have changed, and I want you to hear a few of their stories. Chris spent years doing physical work. It left his feet sore every day at the end of the day. After starting taking Relief Factor, he felt so good he did something he'd never done before. He ran half a marathon. Now he tells his friends about Relief Factor. I'm the same. totally understand how Chris feels because I do it every day. I tell my friends how I was just with somebody that works at the White House and we were talking about Relief Factor. We're both like, is that not an amazing product? And they make it really easy now for you to find out if you can be the next person that's telling us about Relief Factor and how it gave you your life back. 3 weeks, $17.76. Try it. ReliefFactor.com, 800-4RELIEF. You'll connect with their friendly local team, and they'll do everything they can to help. We hope you soon will be sharing your story with us as well. ReliefFactor.com.
Do you hear that?
Is that circus music?
Ladies and gentlemen, behold, the eighth wonder of the world.
What are you doing?
Step right up and see the magnificent Beck sofa at Penny Mustard.
The Beck sofa is pretty awesome, but why are you acting like a carnival barker?
Ever seen a little car at the circus?
You mean a clown car?
With clowns that keep climbing out one after another?
I don't know how they do that.
Exactly. The Beck sofa is Penny Mustard's clown car.
How so?
The Beck's appears to be a petite, apartment-sized sofa.
Yeah.
And yet, it comfortably seats several people, one after another.
That's why the Beck's is so popular. It fits in tiny spaces.
But it can hold contortionists, lion tamers, and the ringmaster, too.
Step right up and see the Beck sofa, starting at $19.77 at Penny Mustard.
Now open in Algonquin.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Here is a look at the roads on the outbound Edens. That is wide open. The Kennedy out to O'Hare from downtown at 50 minutes. And the Eisenhower going out. Give yourself 50 minutes as well. Post Office to 390 with a stall at York. Stevenson 55 to Saba Lakeshore Drive to the Veterans Memorial Tollway. Half hour outbound Dan Ryan tightening up in the Express. Pershing to Marquette. Looks like the outbound side of the Bishop Fort slowing down with construction 115th to Dalton to Saba Lakeshore Drive heavy either center. I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mostly cloudy and humid with a low of 69. On Wednesday, expect mainly cloudy skies and high humidity. There will be periods of rain and a thunderstorm in the morning, followed by a heavy thunderstorm later in the afternoon. Be cautious as downpours may reduce visibility and lead to ponding on roads. The high will reach 79 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from The Signature, a division of Esquire Bank Studios.
This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
We are going to Sizzler. Is anybody else talking about the market, Squirrel? I've been working my ass off, but I can't help but notice this country in one day has increased its wealth by $1.7 trillion when you equate the markets. Now, the problem with it is only the people who were smart enough, decent enough, useful enough to have invested in the market made money. The others are Democrats. Therein lies the problem. You see, there is no such thing as socialism or communism or American Democrat policy. There is the guaranteed threats to take everyone else's money. It doesn't work. Whether it's Mao Zedong in Wisconsin. By the way, Squirrel, from now on, in Honey Bunny, from now on, every clip I send you of this lying fraud, it will be titled Mao Zedong from now on. This communist good-for-nothing bust-out, just like the one in New York, just like the ones throughout history that have destroyed the quality of life. They are not useful to a society. They are useless. And, you know, this is not new. For hundreds, really, 1828 when it was founded, it took about 30, 40 years. Then it was the party of slavery, the party of every collapsed society and policy. Every ghetto is the Democrats. And there was a time, Squirrel, when it was always referred to properly as the butt of every joke.
You live here? Yes. Well, maybe you know what a zombie is. When a person dies and is buried, it seems there's certain voodoo priests who have the power to bring him back to life.
How horrible.
It's worse than horrible because a zombie has no will of his own. You see them sometimes walking around blindly with dead eyes, following orders, not knowing what they do, not caring. You mean like Democrats?
Exactly. That was Bob Hope, 1940. And everyone knew, beware the Democrat scourge. The Democrat scourge will lie.
It will actually reduce the deficit by $4 trillion over the long term. Reducing the waste and inefficiency in Medicare and Medicaid will pay for most of this plan. It will
cheat and steal.
Hillary Clinton is being ordered to return $50 million of the money she received from foreign entities related to the Clinton Foundation during her time at the State Department. According to U.S. Attorney...
She was on the take, a bribed Democrat upper echelon party member, just like Barack and just like all of what you hear. However, what you do not hear is how these areas actually exist. You see, the number one job in New York City is welfare.
Office, all these groups have come together. We need states involved, and I'm speaking to that issue as the person who has to look at all the numbers as the administrator of CMS. Now, we're facing a personal care services crisis around the country. The surge in enrollment of individuals in these programs is stunning. So shocking, we have to double-check our numbers. We don't think it's possible that it's happening, but it is.
Oh, it's possible. Because the people who are the constituents, those low-life scallywags, are in on it. Here is two Chicago coppers yesterday, trying to question a suspect in a robbery, a degenerate street life welfare roach. And these are the people in the neighborhood helping the assailant get away. This is a legitimate fight. 2 Chicago policemen, 1 Democrat base member.
Oh, we! Don't hit him! Don't hit him! Don't hit him! You being recorded! You being recorded! Oh! You being recorded!
Now this scum, this filthy pig, is punching and scratching the 2 coppers. And these snipe. These are the ones that are cheering for the roach to get away. By the way, he does. Because the cops know. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to arrest him and bring him what? Before another roach Democrat prosecutor so he could walk again?
Oh, you being recorded. That's what you get. That's what you get. That's what you get. She should never hit him in the face. Run! Run!
I just want you to know, when you're being taxed for everything under the sun, and you're being told how much money has to be given to the CTA, these are the scum that are profiting.
WGN Investigates this afternoon. This week marks 3 months since sheriff's police started patrolling CTA trains. They'll put together a long-term plan based on their findings. One of the big issues, 80 to 90% of riders on some lines fail to pay for rides.
Like the scum that were cheering for the perpetrator to beat the cops and get away. This is what you're being taxed for, but you've always been taxed for these frauds. These are the ones who are jumping on the Medicare, who are openly, knowingly frauding and stealing from all the decent people who, by the way, made a killing today in the market. But their envy and their greed is insatiable. We cannot finance the Democrat areas, which is why when they want to pretend to be helping, what do? They alleviate the taxes the decent have always paid and always navigated. Right? Pritzker, speaking of tax cheats. By the way, Squirrel, did my lawyer get back to you on my new LLC name? Abe Pritzker Ironclad LLC Trust. We don't pay anything.
You know, the war in Iran, the tariffs, the federal corruption, and lax antitrust policies in Washington have caused rising prices of everything, from groceries to gas to housing to really everyday necessities.
Now, see, what this slob understands, who's he talking to? He's not talking to me. Are you talking to me, fat slob? You don't talk to me. I know every one of those items you listed, every industry you mentioned is overtaxed because of you and your cohorts of corruption and the fact that the oligarchs such as yourself cheat on your own property taxes, and you have never had an income. You don't pay taxes. You or any other of your freakish family. By the way, how's Tom? Is he talk to the transvestite, or are they cross because of Epstein?
And as Illinois parents and students get ready for a new school year, everybody is feeling it. That's why the legislature and I declared a sales tax holiday for the back-to-school season.
There you go. Now thank your slave master who brought down the quality of your life to the ghetto, who charged you $33,000 a year for the snipe that Mao Zedong, the first time she ever spoke on the State House floor of Wisconsin.
The first time, lady from the 76 has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon, everyone. First, I'd like to acknowledge that this building and all of us in it are on occupied Ho-Chunk land. And to clarify, the lady from the 76 pronouns are she, her, hers. To begin with speech, I wanted to...
And what makes it even worse, you got to pay for this slob's rent. You got to pay for her food. That's what commie is. There's no such thing. It's just the justification to steal your money. You see, none of these areas, none of these Democrat enclaves can exist under their own potential, their own earnings, their own money. None of them. It's all a fiefdom. And the evidence is beyond doubt. It's not just that people were dumb enough to think that that bust out from Chicago was going to improve anything.
Slow the growth of healthcare costs for our families, our businesses, and our government. There will be a provision in this plan that requires us to come forward with more spending cuts if the savings we promised don't materialize.
And it's all right now exposing itself for what it was intended to do, to cast more and more people, drag and attract more and more people onto something for nothing. Kathy Hochul admits half of the New York state budget is Medicaid, roaches.
So all these programs, whether it's the nutrition programs, half of my budget, or a large percent of my budget is Medicaid. Half of New Yorkers are on Medicaid.
And those are lower income.
Well, there's no question about it. Now, how many are going to be rent subsidized? How many can't have the grocery stores? And the beat goes on. The good news is, at least now, people in positions of power are exposing it.
His personal care billing trends. I'm going to get these numbers to you slowly because they're really important. This is the federal government's data on Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania ranks 5th nationally in average monthly payments, both per beneficiary and per provider. That is way out there. Be number 5 in both those categories. More expensive, that is, in 45 states. Over 96% of personal care claims here are illness unspecified. That's how they're titled. So we can't track them. It doesn't help if the U.S. Attorney or the Attorney General can't possibly find the fraud because people aren't actually telling us what they're really doing. We have to change that history that's evolved here into the norm. And finally, average payments per beneficiary, more than $50,000. Think about that. $50,000 per person getting home care in this state on average, far above.
Now, in this ghetto care known as Obamacare, or the most ironic name, Affordable Care, a wife can get paid to take care of the husband. A son can get paid to take care of the mother and the father, and you get it. It's written to be what it is today, an absolute fraud.
Obamacare was a lie from the beginning. They knew it was. They actively told lies in order to take over a third of the U.S. economy. Yep. Yes. And it has gone downhill ever since. What you don't know about Obamacare is that it has utterly destroyed the free market system.
Oh, yes. No kidding. And you know, that Hassan scumbag, useless, spoiled little biatch, Piker, it's funny, he was talking about something, and I'll have to admit, I didn't know that it was referred to as sewer socialism, but I do like the name. And apparently, its home state is where the Mao Zedong is in the lead for governor.
Look, I know about sewer socialism. This is where it was invented, right? That's right. Municipal socialism. Now look, nowadays when you think about this kind of thing, when you think about the Democratic Socialists of America, People think of New York. People think of Chicago. Maybe they think of Los Angeles.
All ghettos! Me too, I think of that too, you useless piece of dung. You Islamo-Nazi fraud. I think of it too. And then you know what you realize? What exactly are these people? And I am dead serious. What are you good for? And I say this as a receipt to what we had to live through when the dumbest senator for 50 years stole the presidency in 2020. And I will never forget one of his early conversations about what he thought about the people who knew. Number one, he was stupid and a plagiarist. Number two, he was a traitor on the take from enemies foreign and domestic.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Well, here's the difference. We can easily do without you, and the quality of our life will go much better and higher. What can you do without us? And the answer is nothing. We finance your very existence. You are the repulsive and the useless. You are the American Democrat. 312-642-5600.
He believes in freedom, capitalism, and individual liberty. And because of that,
he's become an enemy of the state.
He's Shaun Thompson, and this is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature, a division of Esquire Bank, offers Chicago businesses relationship-first banking. Signature knows your name and your story because personalized banking still matters. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature is where I do my business banking.
Hi, I'm Phil Silverman, CFO of Chicago Atlantic and a client of Signature. We provide capital solutions in markets where risk is often fundamentally mispriced and traditional financing can be limited. Ahead of an important and complex transaction closing, Signature promptly assisted us in addressing a wire issue through their monitoring and verbal verification process, helping us administer the closing on time while maintaining best-in-class control oversight. That kind of hands-on attention is hard to find, and that's why we value our relationship with Signature.
Signature helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature, a division of Esquire Bank, at 773-467-5600 or visit signature.esquirebank.com. Esquire Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hi, I'm Dr. Huber with Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail. Back when the government was suppressing other forms of therapy for COVID and many doctors were being persecuted for stepping up, we felt the absolute necessity to act. That's why I developed Virago during the pandemic, to give people a powerful way to strengthen their immune system and fight back. Since then, feedback from users has shown us that Virago helps with so much more than what we originally anticipated, bringing relief and improvement to people dealing with allergies, asthma, autoimmune diseases by supporting a healthy immune function. Join me Friday, August 28th at Shaun Fest. Tune in or come by and hear me interviewed by the great Shaun Thompson, a true patriot, for a conversation you won't want to miss.
Order your bottle of Virago today. Visit myvirago.com. Use the coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Maha and Virago, making America healthy again.
AM 560. The Answer.
Another great example of communist utopia, Squirrel. Pick a spot. You don't just have to pick CPS students.
Monday night was pitch dark in Havana for the second day in a row, as the national grid struggled to restore power after the sixth nationwide blackout of the year struck on Sunday.
See, I'll admit it, Squirrel, I'm a little surly today, and I'll tell you why. I've been getting text messages from, acquaintances. Oh, interview this guy. He's running for this. He's not a bad guy. What party is he? Oh, well, he's got to run as a Democrat. Oh, he's got to run as a Democrat? Until you understand what this cancer has done. It's not just Chicago. It's anywhere it exists. And when I say that, people go, what do you mean? You mean even doctors? Absolutely. And I don't just mean Fauci. You mean lawyers? Oh, especially lawyers. When they become judges in their little costumes, the freakazoids that they are, they make certain that even if they get caught, the other Democrats scot-free.
$90 million. That's the amount of money Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison says his office has won back from Medicaid fraudsters. But
Now let that breathe. Let that breathe. Keith Ellison, this dimwit, I mean, you want to talk about a moron, on tape, guaranteeing the protection from his office for Somalian pirates who all resemble each other. Guaranteed it. And you know what he did, Squirrel? He delivered, because all he has to do is tell those other moron zombies, known as Democrats, that he recovered $90 million. It's not even 10% of that. And every step and fetch Democrat will continue to vote for Mao Zedong or any other Democrat in Minnesota or a Democrat in California or a Democrat in New York, because they are the zombie commie.
Investigators found a large portion of that money may never make it back into the state coffers. Investigative reporter Kirsten Swanson continues her reporting on Medicaid fraud cases. Looking at the money tonight, Kirsten.
Well, Lindsay, the Attorney General's office does not actually go out and collect that money. That's a point both the AG and his staff made repeatedly as we've reported on this story. But we found that big dollar figure that you've read in headlines or heard during hearings might be a bit confusing.
It's a statement we've heard repeatedly.
We've prosecuted and convicted over 300 people since I've been Attorney General for Medicaid fraud.
Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison touting his office's record on prosecuting Medicaid fraud. He also throws in an additional stat.
We've won more than 300 convictions in Medicaid fraud and won more than $80 million in judgments and restitution, and recovered over $80 million, over $80 million in recovery in terms of restitution.
Those recoveries are now north of $90 million, according to this table provided by the AG's office.
But that money is not necessarily back in the bank, or in this case, the state's general fund. The $90 million figure represents settlements, judgments, and restitution ordered by the court. But what's actually paid back is just a fraction of that.
5 Investigates analyzed hundreds of criminal cases involving Medicaid fraud prosecuted by the Minnesota Attorney General's office. Since 2019, the courts have ordered nearly $32 million in restitution, but we found defendants only paid back a little more than $3 million.
Let's talk about.
That's the result of even when they're caught and they skate without felonies. This is what Democrats deliver for campaign contributions. You understand that? And I couldn't help but notice, well, they couldn't track the money and they couldn't do. Who can track the money? Who does actually track all the transactions? Who facilitates it all? And you know how you can tell, Squirrel? The very institutions that misuse power against Donald Trump and the Republicans and the non-Democrats and the American capitalists. Those institutions, all of a sudden, they can spot trouble even where there's not even an indictment. Like Capital One. Big merger with Discover. I didn't hear that on the news. How did that get through? Spirit was just too big, too much, would have had too much of a monopoly. But Capital One, Discover, and all the banks that they control, that's not a monopoly, huh, Squirrel?
Capital One says it closed hundreds of bank accounts associated with President Trump and his businesses for, quote, anti-money laundering reasons.
What about the Somalians and the $19 billion that they stole? You let that slide, though, huh? Capital One. And then you get to realize just how deep this corruption really is, which is why you won't hear about the national success only among the few. You'll hear about the cost of inflation, created, ironically, in Democrat ghetto areas, and how they are here to help you.
Starting this Friday, August 7th, and for 10 days until Sunday, August 16th, shoppers will pay 0 state sales tax on essentials like clothing and school supplies.
Whoa, look at you. And what about that new tax that went in? So they give you some sort of a benefit, and they claim it's going to save $55 million. What's the figure on the tax increase of the 5 Collier counties? For the CTA, where 90% of the snipe hopped the rail. What is it? Can't figure it out. This is the beauty of what we're dealing with. Morons.
You live here? Yes. Well, maybe you know what a zombie is. When a person dies and is buried, it seems there's certain voodoo priests who have the power to bring him back to life.
How horrible.
It's worse than horrible because a zombie has no will of his own. You see them sometimes walking around blindly with dead eyes, following orders, not knowing what they do, not caring. You mean like Democrats?
312-642-5600.
Make money, smoke cigars, and live free on The Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Ed Morrissey of HotAir.com for Town Hall. How can you spot a racist? It's easy to do, especially in the protection racket media. Just look for those who bring race into arguments as non sequiturs in order to demagogue people whose opinions fall outside the elite's comfort zone. Thus we come to Howard Bryant and The Guardian. Reporters asked Indiana Fever star Sophie Cunningham to take a position on male intrusion on women's sports. Cunningham opposed it as the common sense position. In response, Bryant offered a bizarre rant in which he claimed Cunningham was anti-black as well as anti-transgender. This follows an equally bizarre essay from USA Today columnist Nancy Armour, which argued that Fever star Caitlin Clark should absorb more fouls without redress because Emmett Till got lynched in the 1950s. Rather than address the real issue, sports writers pulled a race card on both women. Sports media has become a new haven for craven and woke demagoguery. Don't trust them. I'm Ed Morrissey.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free, no-risk consultation. 800-292-7875. 800-292-7875. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-292-7875.
Focus on your earnings, but you must manage your liabilities. Don't live like a frackin' Democrat. I'm guilty of this. At least I was very early on, especially when it comes to insurance. What do? You get it and you forget about it. You don't check on it. In some cases, you even renew it, but you don't go through it the way you should. You don't know if you're underinsured and overpaying. TJ will help you do this right now. TJ Iaquinta, if you call 708-328-5150, he'll go through your existing insurance line by line. His father taught him that, Tommy. They built a family business over 25 years, and this is how they are constantly, as you see, Class A insurance has landed on the list of top 25 home insurers. They have access to a plethora of different insurance companies. They're not anchored to just one. They're anchored to you. That's the beauty of Class A insurance. And all you have to do is call 708-328-5150 for a no-obligation consultation with TJ as he goes through your insurance policies line by line to make sure you're insured properly and you're fitting into your costs and your budget. If you're more of an online guy, we understand that. Go to 560 Insurance altogether, 560insurance.com, and schedule an appointment to go through your insurance line by line. You may need 3 different companies for 3 different things: a car, a boat, a motorcycle, a house, an apartment building, whatever you have. Make sure you're doing it properly. You're not overpaying. That's how you end up living like a Democrat. 312-642-5600. We'll take your calls and comments after news with Mike Scott.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Scott in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Sunshine and a high of 85 today. Michigan Democrats are heading to the polls to choose a nominee for Senate in a closely watched primary race. Mike Rogers, a former Michigan congressman, is running unopposed in the GOP primary. 5 states are holding primaries today. The first deaths linked to the cyclosporiasis outbreak are being reported in Michigan. Dr. William Schaffner is with the Vanderbilt University School of Medicine.
Most at risk are people at the extremes of age, the very old, the very young, and people with chronic underlying medical conditions.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson's budget director is stepping down. Annette Guzman is resigning to focus on her family. A boat capsized on Lake Michigan Monday evening on the south side. 7 were on board when the boat capsized. 3 adults were taken to the hospital in good condition. Cubs and Dodgers tonight. White Sox battle the Red Sox. And the news, a service of the daily podcast of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Shaun Thompson Show. Subscribe free 560theanswer.com/podcast. Your next news update is at 5. Continuous news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. And up next, the latest on your commute in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jill Urchek.
Southbound 355 at Army Trail, one lane is blocked with an accident. Southbound Tri-State, a stall on the right shoulder at the 88 westbound exit ramp. You're getting through, but partially blocked. And very heavy along DuSable Lakeshore Drive either way. Outbound Ford, a crash at 130th, being pulled off to the side, but still tight. Outbound Edens is clear. The Kennedy downtown out to the airport. That is a 50-minute trip with some tie-ups in those express lanes. Division to Irving Park. On the Eisenhower, 1 hour and 5 to get to 390 from downtown as well. And the Stevenson out 50 minutes out to the Veterans Memorial Tollway from DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Half hour outbound Dan Ryan going in. 15 minutes. Skyway is clear. We are seeing the tie-ups. That is outbound 57 at Wentworth and southbound 57 at 183rd. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchek.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight, expect mostly cloudy skies with high humidity and a low temperature of 69. Moving into Wednesday, the day will be mainly cloudy and humid with rain and a thunderstorm in the morning, followed by a heavy thunderstorm later in the afternoon. Be cautious as downpours may lead to reduced visibility and ponding on roads. The high temperature will reach 79 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Progressive Insurance. Progressive can protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, RV, and more. In short, a lot of things. Bundle today at progressive.com.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
You're probably listening to this in your car, so let me ask you. Would you drive without insurance? Of course not. So why is your retirement portfolio unprotected? Gold is portfolio insurance. It helps de-risk your savings when markets get unpredictable. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands of Americans do exactly that with no high-pressure sales and thousands of 5-star reviews. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult with your tax or financial professional before making any investment decisions.
Rashaw talks about building income in retirement.
You know, you can actually structure it in a way to have that $4,000 a month coming in the door every single month. So you don't have to look at the stock ticker and say, oh, the stock market's up today, stock market's down. You still got that $4,000 a month, and having that opportunity to take the vacations and do all the fun things in retirement that you always dream to do.
Unleash your wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from The Signature, a division of Esquire Bank Studios.
This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Wild West items, political history, we sell your American treasures. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Mao Zedong might be my favorite new candidate. She really might. Not just because I love Finding Nemo. She's got a long history of outright stupidity and uselessness on the record.
Abolishing policing is one segment of reforming and reevaluating our criminal justice system. Using those funds from using the funds after we've eliminated the access to eliminating funds for the police needs to be put into rehabilitation services, mental health services for those in prison.
Any moron dumb enough to vote Democrat has a mental health problem. There's no question about it. But I can't help but notice, what about Francisco Nanez? You know who that is, Squirrel? Francisco Nanez is a useless piece of dung. And he was a target of the Innocence Project. In fact, in 2021, the Innocence Project picked up his murder conviction of arson, and they overturned it. He was awarded $8 million from the people of Chicago, Cook County, and Illinois in general. Another check to lawyers, and they used this scumbag, Francisco Nanez, as a conduit to get paid by lawyers. And it's funny, at 61 years old, he was arrested again. Son of a gun. You wouldn't believe it, Squirrel. He pled guilty to traveling to meet a 13-year-old girl to have sex with. That's a good scumbag, huh? Kill that son of a pig. How about this degenerate, lowlife rat, 9-time convicted burglar, did it again just 3 days after a judge put him on ankle monitoring. Here's another useless snipe, fraud, scumbag. What's his name? Ronald Moore. Oh, Ronald, what an asset to society. How much did we lose on your education, on your health care, you dim-witted scumbag? Where did our girl go? Glenn in Orlando.
Yeah, hey, Shaun. I'm going to play from the old Johnny Carson show, The Great Karnak. I'm going to say a word.
All right.
I'm going to say a word, and then we're going to use it in a sentence. And the word is oxymoron. What do you call the honor system and a Democrat?
An oxymoron?
That's the word, oxymoron. That's the example of the oxymoron. Remember, Johnny used to say a word and he used it in a sentence.
Oh, listen. I was thinking that when Alexi Giannoulias talked about law. Here's a guy that has circumvented law his entire life. Not only that, when you look at his actual history of failure, fraud, and corruption, and he's the front runner, and next to who? John Kelly, who worked for a lobbying law firm that represented Mike Madigan after he got caught. That's your guy. I mean, that's how low the standards are. You know, the difference too, Glenn, is when the Republican scumbags are scumbags, who calls them out? Me. You. The people who go to work. I'm not a fracking Republican. I'm forced to sometimes vote that way. But I'm not a fracking Republican, and I've identified the scum, whether it's John Thune or Tillis or Cornyn or Edwards. Who's Edwards, Squirrel? Edwards is a peculiar-looking guy. He's got that comb-over. And it turns out, when I identify Washington, D.C. as Caligula for nerds and scumbags, I'm exactly right. Here's a Republican scumbag. Listen to how this freak at 61 with a comb-over, listen to how he lives in Washington, D.C., known as Caligula for scum.
North Carolina Republican Chuck Edwards is accused of sexual misconduct, harassment of young female staffers, and harboring a toxic work environment.
The complaint alleges that Edwards would frequently make comments about female staffers' weights and looks, text young staffers, quote, deeply romantic thoughts, and even shower them with expensive gifts and vacations. That included jewelry and a trip to New York to see Hamilton after one went through a breakup, all paid for by Edwards. It is unclear whether he used taxpayer money to do so.
Unclear. Do you know why it's unclear, Squirrel? Because lawyers, scoundrels, lobbyists, scallywags have created an entire industry that never pays taxes, never is audited. It's called their campaign coffers, as we used to call it in Chicago, or as I like to call it now, a slush fund for scum. And every Democrat and every Republican has it. And they can pretend to be men, like this comb-over, bust-out fraud, and buy things for women, and you don't know how he even got the money. Is there anybody dumb enough to give Chuck Edwards money in North Carolina?
The report also alleges Edwards once skipped votes to go to a female staffer's home to help her decorate her Christmas tree. One of the alleged victims was just 19 years old when this...
So you know what separates him from the convict who went to a 13-year-old? Technicality of pedophile or not. But you want to know what separates them, Squirrel? Nothing! They're both scum! Throw that pig on his ass. George in Naperville.
Yeah, Shaun, do you know if nose piercings and neck tattoos are covered under Pritzker's tax-free school supplies?
Of course it is. Absolutely it will be. But not the ones who earn a living. Those are called baristas, and they pay taxes. Robert, Bloomingdale.
Yeah, you know, you can see Governor Flintstone's shell game here. Then my question again is, where the heck is Darren Bailey? It's time to either poop or get off the pot.
Darren Bailey.
Show me a sign, give me a clue. Drop me a hint and tell me something new. It's a global mystery. You've got to watch and see. Where in the world is
Darren Bailey.
Darren Bailey. Darren Bailey is trying to con Chicago Democrats into thinking that he's their guy, too. See, he doesn't have the bona fides to run on any principles. He doesn't have any. So he's going to run a con game of, I'm not bad, I'm better than this guy, and it isn't working, stupid. And we would have known that had he debated. But he didn't have the courage to debate. He had the money and the war chest left over from the last time he run. This is why I wouldn't waste $5 or 5 seconds on a coward. That's just me.
That means a discount on backpacks and on notebooks and pen and paper and pencils, of course, and sneakers and shirts and, well, everything beyond.
Now, how much of what he's advocating will be bought with more welfare money? More money stolen through a system where mothers pretend that their sons take care of them so they both make money on a fraud. Where? How much of that? And that's what Darren Bailey. I'll do it too. I'm Darren Bailey. Corey, Woodlawn.
Hey, Shaun, thanks for taking the call. You know, I was listening to the show this morning, and I got kind of upset because we've got violence interrupters all in our neighborhood that are technically getting paid taxpayers' money. But these guys were criminals. We worked with cops to try to get these guys arrested a couple of months ago. Now they're back on the street, and they're collecting money from the government?
Yeah, gangbangers would have. That's gangbangers with a W-2. They're going to have to file taxes now. It's going to be a big headache and a big change. They've legitimized gangbangers. What did you think was going to happen, brother? You've been living this your whole life. You and I have talked about how did these organizations exist. Open-air drug markets. Open-air drug markets. All of our life. Every dimwit, sexually frustrated dingbat from Hinsdale knew just where to take the family Lexus, go buy the smack, and go back and pleasure the landscaper. Forever! How did they know? You think maybe the aldermen were in on it? What do you think? You think maybe there was a little how you doing? What about the Welch and the brother? Anybody ever look into that Maywood tandem of scumbags and scoundrels? What is he now, the Speaker of the House? That's the problem with these Democrats.
How do we
they
get
legitimize.
this thing shut down? Because now we've got people running around here taking care of their grandmothers. They're not even doing it. They're just getting paid. They're pushing this fraud in our neighborhoods like it's a legitimate career choice. It's not.
You can't shut it down unless you stop paying for it. There's only one way and one way only to detach the liability of low-character human beings from the costs of the decent. That's backdoor communism. So if you're asking me how to do it, you have to go to high ground. I believe I started my first show with saying you have to figure out where high ground is. If high ground is moving from Chicago to Western Springs, okay, fine. I got friends and the kids, and that's what they do, right? High ground. Fine, for now. But you have to recognize it. And you must also be unequivocal in your dismissal of this backdoor communism, socialism, because it doesn't exist. All it is, Corey, and you know this, is legitimizing extortion and thievery from the decent people, whether they're in a different state or they're in the future in the form of debt. What you have is a cancer of the conscience, a cancer of the mind. You have people who think they're entitled to steal other people's money, time, and future. That's what you have. This is the only reason we made this money today is because we set up a system that was based in property rights of individual ownership of their life, their property, and their decisions. Now, in America 2026, the lowest form of existence you are, the more money you get for nothing. And the better you are, if you live among them, the highest you're taxed for them. Those are called Democrat areas, brother. I've been trying to tell you. I've been begging you. 312-642-5600.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show.
where Democrats are always wrong, Republicans are seldom right, and politicians are never, ever to be trusted. On AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, did you ever track down that missing warehouse key?
I forgot all about it.
You forgot? You said that guy was furious when you had to let him go.
That doesn't matter anymore. Goldilocks set us up with new managed access control. We're keyless now. Everyone has a card or fob. Even their phone works.
Huh. You don't have to worry about people copying keys either.
Yeah, never again. Goldilocks allows me to handle everything from my phone or laptop. I can see who came into the building, when they left, restrict their access at night. I can grant temporary access to visitors, too. It takes 30 seconds to add or remove someone.
That sounds a lot safer and simpler.
Stop guessing who has access to your building. Set up access controls today by calling Goldilocks at 708-889-5600. Again, that's 708-889-5600 or visit GoldilocksInc.com. Goldilocks, security under your control.
Have you ever wondered, with all the different religions and interpretations of the Bible, how you can be sure that you're on the right path in your spiritual journey? The powerful new book, You and God by Peter Philippi, helps you answer this question and discover how to establish a truly personal relationship with God through biblical understanding and faith. Get your copy of You and God by Peter Philippi today by visiting pbmusa.org. That's pbmusa.org.
Maybe you've thought about taking a cruise. Maybe you've even talked yourself out of it. But this is not just another vacation. This is the Gulf of America cruise. 7 days through the Caribbean with Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, Jennifer Horn, and a ship full of people who love this country. No packing and unpacking, no complicated planning, just great destinations, meaningful conversations, and a once-in-a-generation celebration of America's 250th. This November, be there. Text CRUISE to 94878 to book your cabin today.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
In 1796, George Washington made one of the most consequential decisions in American history. He chose not to seek a third term as president. So why does that matter? Because America was not built on permanent rulers. It was built on ordered liberty. Faith teaches that authority is a stewardship, not a possession. Leaders are accountable to God for how they use power. And why does that still matter today? Because republics survive when leaders respect limits and citizens defend them. Washington's lesson still stands. A republic is preserved when power has limits, and public service remains a duty to God and country, not a path to personal rule.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
AM 560, The Answer.
Do not despair. We are by far the majority. 85% of the counties in this country have never voted Democrat in a presidential election.
21st century own party approval rating, about at this point in the second term. We got Trump, we got Obama, we got Bush. Look, they're all fairly popular, but the one who is the most popular, and we have seen this time in and time out, no matter when you look, is Donald John Trump. He's the only one who's over 80%. 83% of Republicans still approve of the job that Donald Trump is doing as president.
Now, how many approve of John Thune? How many approve of this scumbag molesting his 19-year-old interns? See, that's the difference. He represents a third party, and nobody's talking about it. Verlon, Michigana, you got a big day going on. Now you got a freak show going on there.
Yeah, I voted earlier today, but it didn't look too good at the polls, man. I was in there, and it was only like 3 people counting me. So
Dude,
I don't know, man.
It don't matter. Who's overseeing those?
Yeah.
To quote Obama, good thing we got the unions. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. I'm so glad Corey said what he said earlier. Don't forget, the at-home caregivers, which Corey was talking about, has been unionized. And you know who fought for that? Brandon Johnson, before he became mayor. That's what put him in there. So he's got the violence interventionist at his back, and he has the at-home caregivers. Tell me he's not going to be mayor? As a matter of fact, I want to make a bet with you. If Brandon Johnson is mayor, I'm going to put off my trip to Puerto Rico or Canada. I didn't know what I wanted to do at the beginning of May. And I'm going to come to Naples, and I want that steak dinner that you're talking about.
Done,
and as a caveat, I eat curry, goat, and oxtail. And if I lose, I'm still going to come to Naples and pick out the restaurant and recommend me a hotel close by you so I can.
I got a spot for you to crash, but you're going to have to clean up afterwards. I'm not going to be cleaning your mess. We got no cleaning lady, but I'll take care of it. Don't worry. You stay with me. We got it all covered. Deal. I wish I could say I cared who won. To me, they're all the same. The Declaration of Democrat. It's not a philosophy. There is no philosophy. It's a confession. You're either a thief or a moron, or sadly, a combination of both. Kevin, Vegas.
Shaun, I know you have a hard time figuring these Democrats out, but if you had to take a guess, when do you think the last time J.B. Pritzker suspended a tax on school supplies like this?
Oh, I'm going to guess it would be, let me think real hard, an election year?
Yeah, 2022. You got it. Ding, ding, ding.
Sure. And by the way, did you see that Mike Lindahl, he's running for governor in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And he during the 4th of July parade, he threw out My Pillow pillows, like the travel pillow. He threw it out, and on the pillow, it said Mike Lindahl for governor and his lieutenant governor. Do you know that they're bringing him up on campaign fraud charges? Now, J.B. Pritzker is doing the same thing with sales tax. And it's, there you go. And you know what it is? I love the fact that the smarmy, slimy lawyers, like the firms that John Kelly works for, they figured out, hey, what are you going to do? This is even better. Now, you get out there with your big fat ass, you never worked a day in your life, and you cheated on your own taxes, and you pretend to be Robin Hood, and they'll never know because we never taught them how to read. Robin Hood was stealing from the government to give to the people. This is going to be great. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to be Robin Hood, only though nobody wants to see you in tights, you fat ass. You'll be the only guy out there with a camel toe, this fat slob.
You know, the war in Iran, the tariffs, the federal corruption, and
Shut up! Do a push-up! You're going to talk like a man, you get the taste slapped out of your mouth. I had enough of them, Kevin. Thank you very much. I appreciate the call. See what you did. Squirrel, you're going to get us in trouble. 312-642. Oh, we got a guest coming up. We got a great guest. We'll be back.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. You push yourself in everything you do, scanning headlines for insights, keeping an eye on the market. Robinhood puts you in control of your money, all on one platform. You expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move.
Today, we tip our wrench to Rock Auto customer Jeremy.
I've been a RockAuto.com customer for over 15 years, and now even my kids order their parts there. Prices are always far lower than the local auto parts store. Selection is massive, and the site makes it unbelievably easy to find exactly what we need. Every order shows up fast, and the quality is always top tier. RockAuto.com has earned my trust for life, and I highly recommend them.
All the parts your car will ever need, Rock Auto.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-575-8924. 800-575-8924. That's 800-575-8924.
Have you been watching gold and silver lately? Hard to ignore. Back in January of 2025, silver was under $30 an ounce, and now it's more than doubled. Again. Not bad, right? Some experts say this bull market is just getting started. Others say it's a good time to take some money off the table. Either way, whether you're buying or selling, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is the place to go. They stock large quantities of all the major bullion coins and bars. And here's what sets them apart. Unlike places that only pay melt value, Fox Valley Coins pays more for high-grade coins and scarcer dates. That's real money left in your pocket. They also buy scrap sterling flatware, jewelry, silver-plated items, and old proof sets. And they specialize in U.S. and foreign collector and investment coins and currency, both buying and selling. Fox Valley Coins, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at Ferry Road in Naperville. Family owned with integrity since 1981.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
The number one name on German welfare is Mohammed. I wonder if they ever did that study in Minnesota or in Michigan. You know, we're going to ask my rabbi. See, Squirrel, I'm not Jewish, but I have a rabbi. My friend Rabbi Michael Barclay will join us to discuss that and so much more as we pretend we can have an agreement with a cult. That'll be after Mike Scott and the news.
Good afternoon. In our QC Kinetics newsroom, sunshine and a few clouds and a high of 85. An Illinois State Police trooper is charged with sexual assault in Tinley Park. Prosecutors say Douglas Lee drugged a bartender in August of 2025 and then allegedly took her to a Tinley Park hotel where he sexually assaulted her. He wasn't on duty at the time. Lee was ordered held in jail awaiting trial. President Trump says he's welcoming Todd Blanche's upcoming confirmation as the next Attorney General. On the Senate floor, Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says the GOP shouldn't trust Blanche.
Instead of seeing Todd Blanche's so-called deal for the sham that it is, Senate Republicans are once again taking Trump's personal attorney at his word.
The cleanup continues in Grant Park today following the last performance of Lollapalooza. Police say overall 10 were arrested. And the governor signing 2 bills into law today designed to protect Illinois consumers from unfair home and auto insurance rates. Cubs take on the Dodgers tonight while the Southsiders battle the Red Sox. The news, a service of the AM 560 Advantage, where membership has its privileges. Join today. 560theanswer.com/join. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The stock market on fire at Tuesday's close on optimism over a Strait of Hormuz deal. The Dow soaring 907 points and topping 54,000. The S&P rising 136, NASDAQ gaining 671. Wall Street's rally fueled by tech stocks, with Palantir Technologies leading the way. SpaceX posting its first earnings report since its IPO, and the results surpassing Wall Street estimates, with revenue jumping 92%. Elon Musk's company also announced on Tuesday that it's teaming up with chip giant NVIDIA to increase computing capacity into orbit. AMD also releasing quarterly earnings after the bell Tuesday, the chip maker's revenue rising 50% thanks to its data center sales. And that's your Fox Business Report. I'm Laura Cantor, invested in you.
When it comes to supplements, 2 things matter most. A, that it works, and that you can trust it. Rather than just tell you about Relief Factor, we'll let our audience do that. We hear from people every single day whose lives have changed, and I want you to hear a few of their stories. Chris spent years doing physical work. It left his feet sore every day at the end of the day. After starting taking Relief Factor, he felt so good he did something he'd never done before. He ran half a marathon. Now he tells his friends about Relief Factor. I'm the same. Totally understand how Chris feels because I do it every day. I tell my friends how I was just with somebody that works at the White House and we were talking about Relief Factor. We're both like, is that not an amazing product? And they make it really easy now for you to find out if you can be the next person that's telling us about Relief Factor and how it gave you your life back. 3 weeks, $17.76. Try it. ReliefFactor.com, 800-4RELIEF. You'll connect with their friendly local team, and they'll do everything they can to help. We hope you soon will be sharing your story with us as well. ReliefFactor.com.
For over 40 years, the Heartland Institute has stood for the ideas that built this country. Free markets, limited government, and individual freedom. Now you're invited to celebrate that legacy in person. Join Heartland on Thursday, September 3rd for their 42nd anniversary benefit dinner at the historic Palmer House Hilton in downtown Chicago, one of the city's most iconic addresses for over 150 years. This year's keynote speaker is Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who has led Florida through 2 terms of record economic growth, making it one of the fastest growing states in the nation. The evening kicks off with a reception at 5, dinner at 6, an evening of great company, great conversation, and a shared belief in the principles that made America exceptional. Seats are limited, and they will go fast. Reserve yours today at benefit.heartland.org. That's benefit.heartland.org. The Heartland Institute's 42nd Anniversary Benefit Dinner, September 3rd, Palmer House Hilton, Chicago. Don't just believe in freedom, celebrate it.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Here is another check of the roads. The outbound Edens is clear on the Kennedy, downtown out to O'Hare, 48 minutes. Tighten the express lanes, and you'll see delays from Division to Irving Park. Outbound Eisenhower, 1 hour and 5. Post Office to 390. Stevenson, 40 minutes to the Tri-State. 50 out to 355. Dan Ryan out a half hour, stall on the right shoulder at Garfield. Outbound Dan Ryan, that's tight from Pershing to Marquette. Bishop Ford up on a stall, and that's at 130 off to the shoulder. But we do have delays on DuSable Lakeshore Drive, eastbound Reagan, and also southbound 355, debris right near Army Trail. This report is a service of the AM 560 mobile app. Listen to AM 560 on your smartphone or mobile device when you download the AM 560 mobile app at 560theanswer.com/mobile. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mostly cloudy and humid with a low of 69. On Wednesday, expect mainly cloudy skies and high humidity. There will be periods of rain and a thunderstorm in the morning, followed by a heavy thunderstorm later in the afternoon. Be cautious as downpours may reduce visibility and lead to ponding on roads. The high will reach 79 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature, a division of Esquire Bank Studios.
This hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
I love America. I love the Constitution. I love the First Amendment. I want to carry and all else. I love property. And let me tell you something. If you care about your country, read Ludwig von Mises and the 6 lessons of the Austrian Economic School, motherfuckers.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
As we are pushing back the best we can against the global intifada and the cancer of this hate cult spreading domestically and around the world, I cannot think of a better guest to have than my next guest. You see, he's the host of the radio show and podcast, The Rabbi's Roundtable. He also is somebody who has dedicated his life to learning, to wisdom, to righteousness. And he's my rabbi, even though I'm not Jewish. Rabbi Michael Barclay, how are you?
I'm well, thank God, Shaun. How are you doing? And thank you for everything you do.
Oh, no, thank you. And this is something that really I think is so crucially important, because the infiltration of this global intifada is not only brought to this country as it's brought to civilized nations in Europe. It's financed by this country as it's financed by civilized countries in Europe. Most people do not know the number one name on government sustenance in both London and Germany is Muhammad. Yeah, I wonder if that's ever been done in Michigan, or if it's been done in New York, or if it's been done in Minnesota, where the Somali pirates have managed to steal, 11, 12 billion and send it back to Somalia. So we are financing our own destruction. And as I say this to you, in Michigan, I don't know if you heard in Dearborn in the mosque, this is an American-born, African-American, who is an imam. Have you heard this clip? It was after the Ayatollah.
I have not heard this clip before, no.
Oh, this is going to be great. After Ayatollah Asshat, who is responsible for the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Iranians in his own country, let alone the financing of terrorism around the world. This is an American-born imam.
We ask Allah to accept this sacrifice, and I offer my condolences to each and every one of you, and I also offer my congratulations on this ultimate honor that he received after 86 years of jihad in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I appreciate each and every one of you for coming out here. It was very important that we have this gathering today, and that we remember our shuhada, and that we not be intimidated by the Epstein class. And even more than I appreciate the brothers, then I appreciate our sisters, especially those sisters who brought small children so that our children would grow up with this culture where we remember our martyrs and we're not ashamed of them. So brothers and sisters, you and I, and all of those who are in the world right now, and those of us who are in the West, we can't let our tax-exempt status for our masjid become an idol that I worship bidunillah.
So it's a confession.
Wow.
That's a confession. Is that not a confession? Is that not beautiful? And, you know, in the 70s, everybody knew back then it was the El Rukns. And the El Rukns were a street gang of illiterate morons, much like the gangs today. And they hid in this religion of hate to achieve not only tax-exempt status, but the veneer of legitimacy, as they were nothing more than drug dealers. And that's how we financed our destruction from the 70s to now. But now he's confessing that under the guise of tax-exempt religion, the global intifada is neck deep in Dearborn, fracking, Michigan. Excuse my language, but I'm a street guy. And this is what most Americans are afraid to talk about. But we have known this, and now we have the confessions. Do you not think now is the time to remind the people in control of the national government there must be something done, and step 101 is kick them off the welfare and strip these cult organizations from their tax-exempt status, and let's get back to business. What do you think?
Well, first of all, Shaun, remember, I'm a rabbi, not a priest, so your language is fine. I smoke good cigars. I drink good tequila. I have no issue with your language, and you know that. So I guess the real question, and in some ways the goal that needs to happen, and I've written about this over the last year or two, is, and I'm not sure how we do it, but we need to identify that Islam is not a religion. Because it's not. And I'm talking as a theologian right now. The Christian scriptures are about deepening your relationship with life through the path of Christ. The Jewish scriptures are about deepening your relationship with life through the different prayers and the different teachings of the Jewish scriptures. The Hindu scriptures, the Buddhist scriptures, the Taoist scriptures, the Zoroastrian. These are all traditions about deepening an individual's relationship and his awareness of his relationship with God, life, the universe. The Quran is not. The Quran is a business plan to create a worldwide caliphate run by Sharia law. It doesn't define itself as a religion in that way. It is unique. And I think part of the question is this isn't Islamophobia. It's not a religion. So how do we make that clear? Because they shouldn't have tax-free status. They shouldn't be tax exempt.
No, and it's funny because you can expand that out, right? And the other thing too, I've never been able to wrap my head around the idea. Listen, you made this up in the year 622. If I give you some credit for whatever you say your first writings are, but it really didn't take effect until 50 years after that. But you could expand the other religions into this as well. You could expand the Amish. They don't bother anybody. They're not a cult of hate. I mean, even if you go with as we talked before, the Scientologists. I hold the rods of truth in my hands and I get a part in one of those Tom Cruise movies. This is the only religion that is at the common denominator of chaos and terrorism around the world and forever. And also, we talked when Japan finally said, "Get out," which I think is the only way you can deal with it, because it's a lie from the beginning. It's always been a lie. And they've sold it not just as a religion, but the audacity to sell it as a religion of peace. I mean, who the are you kidding me? How much more evidence do you need before you speak the truth to it? I don't understand the hesitancy by Americans. But then you look at the Democrat areas. These are self-loathing Americans. They hate themselves. So that's what it is. They're partnered up because they know it's death and destruction and they want it. Don't you think?
I think they definitely want death and destruction on both the progressive Democrat socialists and the Islam. I just read something in the last 24 hours, two different things, and you may know more about it. One is that CARE is transferring ownership of its buildings to a different nonprofit in case it loses its status and is recognized as a terrorist organization. And the other is that I'm actually on CARE's mailing list. I think it's good to be able to see what they're putting out. I got an email from them a couple of hours ago saying how excited they were that there are Democrats that are coming down on Cruz and trying to stop a discussion about stopping the tax-exempt status on Islamic organizations. I don't know if you know about either of those two things. I only know briefly about them. But it's, I think there hopefully is a turn in the world where we're starting to realize, and America's starting to realize, these guys aren't religious. They want death, destruction, chaos, and confusion.
And they promise.
And we need to stop it.
Well, this is the other ignorance of Americans. I started my show an hour ago, and I said, you do realize it's not a philosophy. There is no philosophy that is socialism. There is no real philosophy that is communism. There's no fundamental principle. There's no math equation. What it is a justification of extortion and theft. That's what it is. Why do we give credibility to these outlandish threats? They're not policies, they're threats. It's the same exact thing. When you're in Dearborn, Michigan, and you get up there and you hear an American celebrate a terrorist as if it is a declaration of an achievement that he died in war with America from our shores. That is the definition of domestic enemies, of terrorism, of treason. And no one uses the word. When's the last time since we were kids you heard the word treason? Why are so many people afraid to say it when they're being shouted? It's being shouted in their face.
Shaun, I've actually wrote a couple of articles when Mandami was claiming to want to arrest Bibi Netanyahu, that would be arguably count as treason according to the constitutional law. So I agree with you.
The hesitancy to charge this as treason makes us the sheep set up to be slaughtered. There's no other way to describe it. And what's fascinating when you travel the country and when you do it by car is always, in my opinion, the best way to get kind of a sense of the mores of the different areas you're traveling through. And immediately out of the Democrat areas, the people in the good areas understand the threat and they want to fight against it. When you go further and further south from Chicago, as I do, the further south you get, the more obvious it is that the government is going to work against this global intifada. So ultimately what you have are just a few problem areas. It seems to be the same thing with bankruptcy, the same thing with communism, the same thing with government acceptance of corruption. So what my goal, and the only way I can wrap my head around it is, if you're not going to have the audacity to do what's in the Constitution and secede from it, is there a way to stop financing it? Because the only cherry on the insult sundae is they're on welfare. They're on Medicaid. They're stealing from entitlements. We pretend they have businesses in Minnesota, in Chicago, in New York, in L.A. There has to be some sense of just make the money stop flowing, and maybe they'll get the hell out of here.
That would be the goal. I'm not sure how you do it without support of Congress. I'm not sure how you do it without a real discussion about defining what religion is, because this is not about any sort of hatred for a religion. It's about realizing that this business plan and what they're doing is ridiculous and is taking advantage of America. I'm not sure how you do it other than it's got to come from Congress, and you've got to have courageous leaders that are stepping up and saying, this has to stop. We are feeding our own destruction. They are using our laws, the laws of this nation, to further the cause of turning this nation into an Islamic caliphate, which is what Rashid Tlaib and Omar and these people want, and Mandami. So it takes courage from on our leaders.
Well, one of the things that's I've had enough of, and I say this to you as somebody who is a supporter of Donald Trump, and he earned my support. I didn't give it to him. He earned it over the course of what I witnessed when he won the first time and what he went through the second time. But this idea that we can have any legitimate agreement with people who aren't looking to have an agreement. They don't have the understanding to have a civilized agreement. They have a mission to overtake the world. There is no such thing as having an agreement with a theocracy, in my ignorant opinion. How do you feel about this game of, we're going to sign an agreement. We've now killed enough of the upper echelon of theocrats and Ayatollah asshats that we think we can have an agreement. Can you ever have an agreement with anybody who has sworn allegiance to this poppycock?
The simple answer is no, but the greater answer is that, like you, Donald Trump earned my support. And I think he is a brilliant and great CEO. I think he'll be remembered by history as being an amazing president. But he does have that CEO attitude where he listens to his advisors. And I think one of the biggest problems here is that on the one side you have Marco Rubio, who has since 2011 has said you cannot negotiate with these people. This regime needs to be taken out. Every day that you negotiate, every day you stall, they are building nuclear weapons, which, by the way, they admitted 4 days ago. They admitted, and they were very public about the fact that since this memo of understanding has been going on, they have been developing weapons in pickaxe mounts. So on the one side, he's got Rubio, who's brilliant. And on the other side, he's got J.D. Vance, who I'm sad to say very much wants to be the 2028 nominee and has decided to tie himself to people like Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes and the Groypers. And so he's whispering in Trump's, let's negotiate. We can negotiate with these people. You can't. There's no place to negotiate from if the starting and ending point is, I want you dead. You can't go anywhere from that.
No, and the other thing to watch of these charlatans, these frauds, Fuentes and Carlson, they're financed by the Islamo-Nazi. It's such an amazing thing that as I talk to you today, Capital One once again decided to debank any affiliation with Trump, as Capital One is making acquisitions of not just Discover but banks. So it's fascinating to watch how Capital One and all these other banks and entities can bring up all these charges without any indictment against the entire Trump organization, but not a one of them can stop the money from the Islamo-Nazi to these $2 whore podcasters. That to me shows you just how deep this systemic corruption exists in our country, because 101 is disclosure. Who exactly is buying your opinion? And that needs to be something that we counteract, and you can do it through knowledge. But the problem is you're a rabbi. You understand that this entire religion is poppycock. I went through 90 pages of it or 88 pages of it before I was repulsed enough to put it down. How many people buy the veneer of a religion without ever cracking open the crayon or whatever it's called? How many people ever really even take the word of it as a religion? I mean, how many hundreds of thousands of people have to be slaughtered in the name of this false god before you call this a false religion?
Look, it's like most people, 80 to 90% of any religion, the people are not observant. 80 to 90% of Christians are 2 days a year. Christian Eastern Jews are Christmas Easter Christians. 80% of Jews are Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur Jews. But most people don't read about any theology, let alone one that's not their own. I will bet that your pastors, your ministers, your priests, those guys who are friends of mine, they all complain about the same thing. Their congregants aren't reading Christian text. I know it's always a struggle to teach the Jewish text to Jews. How much harder it is to teach a Christian or a Jew Islamic text. It's not even their tradition, and they don't want to believe it. And it's very, very hard to believe that these are people who they don't want peace and prosperity. That's not their goal. And mutually assured destruction doesn't scare them because they're happy to die for it.
Well, it's funny, too, because as you watch these Democrat areas, and as you look at Mao Zedong, who's the leader for the governor's race in Wisconsin, they all share the same perspective of let's get rid of the police. Let's release the criminals from prison. And, I'm going to tell you, it stems back to the Obama administration. Who financed all of this? Who expanded not just the American national debt, but the ability for these Islamo-Nazis who come to this country under one scam or the next, whether we pretend it's a visa, whether we pretend it's temporary protected status, and instantly and automatically can either up front get on our entitlement system or backdoor get on the entitlement system. And when you look at everything from Obamacare to Medicaid expansion, this is what finances all of these neighborhoods that are running and the strongholds of the global intifada. To me, it goes right back to the fact of we have to start making our so-called representatives who are not Democrat mafia members understand this must be stopped, and it must be stopped now. And I'm curious to know how you explain the growth of the Islamo-Nazi partnering with the transgenders, with the communists, with the American California Sikh Democrats. It's amazing to watch this alliance between all of these enemies of Western civilization, isn't it?
Well, it's even more amazing when you think about the fact that, as an example, the LGBTQ Alphabet Alliance saying Free Palestine, etc. If those people went to any Arab country, they'd be beheaded. And the irony is lost on them. They literally would be beheaded. Islam's much smarter than these people. These people are useful idiots. Islam's goal is to take over the world with a worldwide caliphate, period, end of report, run by Sharia law. That's it. These people are just screaming, because that's what they want to do, and screaming against anything that Trump has ever supported. Orange man bad, Republicans bad. And so they're pro-Hamas and pro-Hezbollah and pro-Iran and all these things in places that, that the Muslims are just laughing about it.
How big of
they know that it's absurd.
Yes, it is. And I love if you really step back and think about it, to me, it starts the way we discuss the movement of the Chicago El Rukns and the fraud that it was the Chicago Muslim movement, nothing more than legitimizing drug distribution. Throughout the years, I've done the research to see the coalition that's been created between the Islamo-Nazi and their only industry, which is drugs and dope and chaos, being partnered up with the cartel. And you look at what Donald Trump did by shutting the border. You look at what he's done by expanding and how he's brought to the knees the cartels and the drug distribution. Ultimately, if we can use law enforcement to break apart the remaining strongholds under the guise of religion that are really just street gangs and drug distributors, we can really weaken the financing of it. If we could get cooperation with Scott Bessent and the Treasury, we could maybe get some of the money back. So we haven't really lost yet. In fact, we're farther along the war against pushing back against the global intifada than we ever have been. Isn't that something we should demand more of? Just break it up, the illegitimate drug distributors they are.
Absolutely. And again, Scott Bessent, Marco Rubio, Dr. Gorka, all these guys who are in the administration who get it. Yeah. And they need to be more empowered. They need to really be encouraged to go break this global intifada apart and to do the best they can here in the States. And those are all good guys. Look, we have some really great guys in this administration. So, God willing, they will have the strength and courage and support to go do what needs to be done.
We were not this strong with pushing back against both corruption domestically and foreign in the Reagan years. I think this is the strongest the country's ever been. I really do. And I think we're on the upside. And the beauty is you have a show out there called The Rabbi's Table. Where's the best place for everybody to keep an eye on The Rabbi's Table? But more importantly, I love the idea that you're also involved with these players as we talk to them. These are friends of yours. So whenever they are meeting in Florida, will you call me because I want to get together. I got an idea. We make a killing. Listen to this. I'm gonna give it to everybody in here. Kosher cigars. What do you think?
Okay, Shaun, I want to promise. No. I want to promise from you right now, because this is a discussion I'm having with some people right now.
All right.
This is not a joke about cigars from Israel.
I love it.
Totally. This is a conversation I've had every day for the last 5 days since I came back from Israel. So you're right on target as usual. They can find me at therabbistable.com. There are links to the podcast. There are links to the articles I write. They can sign up. I send out a daily email for free that just goes to everyone except for the Sabbath and festivals on what is really going on in the Middle East. And as we develop them, kosher cigars as well. But you can find all sorts of stuff there at therabbistable.com, as well as follow at The Rabbi's Table on Twitter or YouTube, Spotify, Apple. They all have the podcast. I have to tell you, I'm very excited. I just taped a very short mini episode yesterday with Senator Roger Marshall about Anthony Fauci.
Oh, that son of a dog. That low-life son of a dog.
Marshall's great.
Listen,
Marshall's
I remember
fabulous, and he's a doctor.
Do you remember in the 80s, I just get out of high school, start sowing my oats with a couple of cheerleaders and whatnot, and he spreads the whole HIV is airborne, killing sex lives of rabid young Americans. It was really something. I've been mad at him ever since, but I always knew what he was, just a fraud. I love the idea you're bringing it up, and I can't wait to see you at our first business meeting, and we're going to do something, like a Nicaraguan, maybe a Cuban seed, something dark and rich. It's going to be very intriguing with my palate and your talent. Big winner. We're going to Sizzler, Rabbi.
I've actually talked to some cigar manufacturers. Shaun, I will talk to you soon. God bless you for what you and your audience do. What are you smoking right now?
Right now, I'm going to go with a Padron 7000. Yeah, I switch it up. I start. The breakfast cigar is the most important, but I like to end with some nuance towards the evening. I could talk to you forever. I can't wait to see you.
I'll talk to you soon. God bless you and your family and your audience, Shaun.
You too, Michael Barclay, my rabbi. We'll be back with your calls and comments.
He will never negotiate his constitutional rights with the government. Live free or die on the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, it's Amy Jacobson, and last year I hired Level 10 Coatings to give my garage floor a total makeover, and I am loving it. It still looks great, shiny and clean. Level 10 Coatings. Now, you've got to call these guys if your garage floor is cracked, stained, still covered in salt. Don't live like that. Get it done now so you can enjoy it this summer. Level 10 Coatings. They're fast, reliable, and highly professional. Guess what? I went to work. When I came home, it was done. A shiny, new, gleaming garage floor. A quick, easy fix, and it's guaranteed never to chip or peel. Why? It's not an epoxy job. It's better. Level 10 uses polyurea, which is much better than epoxy. So schedule your free quote today and mention me, Amy, to receive $500 off. Visit level10coatings.com. That's level, the number 10, coatings.com, or call 855-510-2628. Staff are local and ready to answer questions. Level 10 Coatings, your premier concrete coating experts.
Have you seen those Russian floating folk dancers that look like they're gliding on air?
Impressive. They kind of resemble the Brody table at Penny Mustard.
You're right.
And these upholstered caster dining chairs look like they're also gliding on air. Here, I'll show you.
Be careful.
Watch out!
I never was a very good dancer.
The Brody table, paired with 4 caster dining chairs, starting at $64.22 at Penny Mustard.
Now open in Algonquin.
PennyMustard.com.
Rick Borick talks about the emotions of stock market investing.
At what point would you rethink your decision that you're invested in the stock market? And you'll notice that someone who answered that question 6 months ago saying, I'm not going to panic until it's down 30%, calls you up on the phone and says, it's down 8, what's going on? And I says, what happened to the 30% guy, right?
Unleash Your Wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
815-923-7000. If you have a question about any item you have, you hear our conversation with the rabbi. We, the decent, think about making money, think about saving money, think about liquidating money, think about acquiring money. Donley Auctions has been doing this for 50 years. Items you may have lying around your house, items your mother may have, your aunt who left you her entire estate may have. They may be worth more than you have any idea. Don't panic. Think. Call 815-923-7000. Randy Donnelly and the people at Donnelly Auctions can help you itemize and price every item, from advertising to something you thought was a wonderful lamp that may be from Tiffany. You have no idea unless you call 815-923-7000. If it's in your attic, in your basement, if it's in your garage, if it's something that's hanging upside down in your garage, a bicycle, Randy Donnelly and Donnelly Auctions has thousands of bicycles. If you're ever in Union, Illinois, and they open the doors before an auction, take the kids. It's a museum where you can buy things. And never forget, licensed state and federal arms dealer. Now, us in the free states, we buy guns. We buy. You, in the communist, Nazi, Marxist-run state, you have to sell because they're going to make it higher on taxes, harder to carry it legitimate. The gangbangers, they can buy it forever. But you can sell it to the world through DonnellyAuctions.com. Go there to get an idea of everything they sell, from clothes to guns to rifles to cannons to Buicks to convertible Cadillacs. Randy Donnelly is interested. I am too, a little bit. DonnellyAuctions.com or call 815-923-7000. When we get back, we'll take your calls and comments after Mike Scott.
Good evening, Shaun. In our QC Kinetics newsroom tonight, some clouds and a low of 68. President Trump says he's welcoming Todd Blanche's upcoming confirmation as the next Attorney General.
He's going to do a great job. Everybody knows it. And I understand there's been a sign-off.
Michigan Democrats heading to the polls to choose a nominee for Senate in a closely watched primary race. GOP candidate Mike Rogers criticizes both Democrat candidates as too radical.
The media spent a long time trying to separate the two, as one is moderate and one is, as I've been saying, a special sauce of crazy. Well, guess what? They've just proven that they are both right out of the same mold.
Both Democrat candidates say they'll back each other if they lose. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson's budget director is stepping down. Annette Guzman is resigning to focus on her family. She joined the administration in 2023. Cubs take on Tarek Skubal and the Dodgers tonight. Southsiders battle the Red Sox. The news, a service of the AM 560 store. T-shirts, hoodies, and more when you go to 560theanswer.com/store. Your next news update is at 6. Continuous news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. And up next, the latest on your evening commute in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jill Urchek.
Route 53 northbound side. Watch out for an accident at Lake Cook Road blocking the right shoulder southbound. A crash at Palatine in the right lane eastbound 80. An accident at Manuka and the right lane is blocked on that one as well. No troubles outbound Edens on the Kennedy downtown to O'Hare. 48 minutes. It is heavy on the outbound Eisenhower. Hour and 5 post office to 390. Stevenson inbound a crash at LaGrange in the right lane. 50 minutes going in and back out to 355, 55 minutes. Dan Ryan 30 out to 95th, tighten the express, Pershing to Irving. And DuSable Lakeshore Drive is heavy either way. Jane Adams says clear, other tollways, scatter delays. This report is a service of the daily podcast of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Shaun Thompson Show. Hear both shows with limited commercials when you subscribe for free to the daily podcasts at 560theanswer.com/podcast. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchek.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight, expect mostly cloudy skies with high humidity and a low temperature of 69. Moving into Wednesday, the day will be mainly cloudy and humid with rain and a thunderstorm in the morning, followed by a heavy thunderstorm later in the afternoon. Be cautious as downpours may lead to reduced visibility and ponding on roads. The high temperature will reach 79 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Time now for a check of the lowest gas prices in Chicagoland.
In Cook County, regular no lead is $3.77 a gallon at the S&K on Harlem Avenue in Worth, $3.89 a gallon at the Sam's Club in Northlake, and $3.99 a gallon at the Walmart on Central Avenue in Richton Park.
If you see a low gas price, text the word gas to 312-642-5600, followed by the price and location. And listen each weekday afternoon at 12:30 and 5:30 to hear the lowest gas prices in Chicagoland.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, and your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus. I'm Weston. What's your question?
This is Captain Baker from the Sheriff's Office.
Hello, officer.
We have a report of missing employees at Hasselus Mattress.
That's right.
You're confessing?
Yes, I'm confessing that Hasselus Mattress showrooms are employee-free.
Come again?
Shop for Beauty Rest and Sealy Posturepedic without commission-crazy salespeople breathing down your neck.
Sounds suspicious.
That's how we keep our prices way low.
How low?
Others sell a Beauty Sleep by Beauty Rest Queen Elm Cove A mattress for $1,599, but Hasselus has it for just $794. Plus, similar savings on Sealy Posturepedic and more.
That's criminally low.
And through Monday, trade in your old mattress and take $248 off a queen and $348 off a king.
You wouldn't lie to a cop, would you?
Free next day delivery, too.
Dispatch, I need a police escort for a Hasselus mattress delivery truck to my house.
Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you or shop online at Hasselus.com.
Here's the deal. The government is over $38 trillion in debt, which means the IRS isn't slowing down. And the tax code is complex and unforgiving. So it's not surprising if you're one of the millions of Americans that owe back taxes to the IRS. Unfortunately, they're the world's most powerful collection agency, with the ability to garnish your wages, seize your bank accounts, and even take your home or business. But don't be stressed or worried any longer. We're Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. We have resolved over $3 billion in tax debt for our clients. Our award-winning professionals deal with the IRS every single day, protecting our clients and preparing them for the best possible resolution. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, give Optima a call today.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Now, from The Signature, a division of Esquire Bank Studios.
This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Classic cars, vintage motorcycles, gas pumps, drive up the value at auction. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560.
The Answer.
Carthaginian peace. It's the only peace you can have with a cult. Where is this utopian Islamo-Nazi creation? Where is it? You're going to go with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia? I guess one big giant family. Everybody else kind of a slave.
In Germany, can you take a wild guess as to which is the most common name of someone collecting welfare in the country? I bet you can, because it's exactly the one that you would expect. And it isn't Wilhelm. That's right, it's Muhammad. Specifically, nearly 40,000 Muhammads collecting welfare, which is costing Germany's taxpayers nearly €1/3 billion every single year. But really, is anyone actually surprised by this?
No, I'm not surprised by it. It's the same thing here, and we throw the Democrats on top of it for a little sprinkle, making up out of the $7 trillion, $5 trillion in government cheese. And that's exactly how it was all designed. And you know what else is funny? How many of these Democrats are domestic terrorists?
We begin tonight with developing news. Officials in Spokane confirming a suspect has been arrested for allegedly starting the Old Trails fire. The Spokane County Sheriff's Office says a 37-year-old convicted felon was arrested tonight, seen here for the charge of arson in the first degree. The Old Trails fire sparked Saturday night near Airway Heights. According to officials, that day, a witness reported a suspicious man standing on the side of the road and looking at the trees.
The witness, a citizen, very good citizen, noticed a male standing on the side of the road looking into the trees as he was going to pick somebody up.
Did he have a Hillary Clinton or Kamala Harris t-shirt on? Just like the one that set the fire in California. Democrat, scumbag, convicted felon. It's amazing to me. Just the joy these Democrats have brought to anywhere they are. These communists, these socialists. Where exactly is the utopia where these scumbags live? And that's the greatest thing you can do, in my opinion, Squirrel. Let them live among themselves. Let them suffer their own consequences. The problem, Squirrel, We pay these rat areas.
Now to that breaking news from City Hall. WGN has confirmed Mayor Brandon Johnson's budget director is leaving his administration. Annette Guzman was appointed in 2023, serving on the mayor's team since he first took office. Before that, she managed Cook County's budget.
Hello? The only thing more broke than Chicago is Crooked County. And if you take a look at her, she obviously can't figure out numbers. She's un porco, another 300-pound Democrat. Can't figure out calories, but you're going to figure out the budget. Now I know, Squirrel. Let's let them figure out insurance.
Yes, well, Illinois motorists could now catch a break on their car insurance with this new law meant to drive down cost. Now, the landmark legislation has been championed by Illinois Secretary of State Alexei Giannoulias. The bill's signing comes just days after Giannoulias announced that he would be running for Chicago.
The best part about it is, you know what drives up the cost of insurance, Squirrel? Illegal aliens pretending to be Americans, given driver's license. Alexei Giannoulias, Sanctuary City Democrats from East Coast to West Coast have done this specifically. It's not just the CDLs. It's the local illegal alien who was on a burro last Thursday and today is driving a Buick, smashing around. It's the Democrat products of their public school education, the carjackers, the thieves, driving up the cost of insurance. So how exactly, what is the actuary table that is used to make car insurance go down, where the policies have made all the expenses of degeneracy go up? What is that? What's the equation, Alexei?
Mayor. Now, Governor J.B. Pritzker signed Senate Bill 714 into law this morning, known as the Giannoulias Auto Insurance Reform Bill. The measure looks to end unregulated.
What did he lose? $73 million in the 529 plan? Then he collapsed the bank. Now he's lowering your insurance.
Rate hikes by granting state regulators authority to review and challenge excessive auto insurance rates. The bill bans insurance companies from increasing auto premiums by more than 10% without first notifying consumers 30 days before the renewal date.
Hey, here's a notification. Everywhere Democrats are on the road, your insurance is going to go up because they can't drive, and half of them aren't even citizens. When you understand, this is why I'm not going to take Gabriel's call in New Jersey. Gabriel, I think you're a Democrat. And like the real world, anything to do with achievement or business or success or answering to problems, you don't matter. You are the problem. You're the American Democrat.
You live here? Yes. Well, maybe you know what a zombie is. When a person dies and is buried, it seems there's certain voodoo priests who have the power to bring him back to life.
Horrible.
It's worse than horrible because a zombie has no will of his own. You see them sometimes walking around blindly with dead eyes, following orders, not knowing what they do, not caring. You mean like Democrats?
Exactly like Democrats. And what's funny is if you put these Democrats, if you're dumb enough to put them in important positions, you know what they do? They protect the other scum, like always.
Let's talk about Robert Bowers, a man who regularly spewed such vile hatred of Jews. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. He barged into a Pittsburgh synagogue in 2018 and he shot everybody he could find, killing 11 innocent people who were there to worship. A federal jury in Pittsburgh unanimously recommended the death sentence after finding him guilty on 63 counts. Here they are. They're his victims. Take a good look. You recommended clemency for this person who went in and killed these people just because they're Jews. The other guy killed people just because they're black. This guy killed people just because they're Jews. A jury recommended that he be sentenced to death, and you substituted your judgment for theirs, and now he's going to live. Are you proud of that?
Sir, what I am proud of is the fact that I took my job as pardon attorney extremely seriously.
Apparently not.
Who gave you the job? Who had soiled his trousers? Who gave you the job, whore? And this is when you realize it's not only expensive to live among them, it's dangerous. They keep protecting criminals, not just the Somalian gangsters and pirates that stole our money and don't even have a felony on their record. 312-642-5600 if you're not a Democrat.
Call Shaun now. 312-642-5600.
MyPillow is celebrating our country's 250th anniversary with savings up to 50% off their made-in-the-USA products. For example, get the queen-size premium MyPillow for $18.98 and the king-size for just $1 more. Get body pillows with a free pillowcase for only $39.98. Get the MyPillow mattress topper for as low as $99.99 and $80 off the MyCross, all made right here in the USA. But there is so much more. In fact, they have over 200 products. Go to MyPillow.com and use promo code Chicago or call 800-489-0201 to check out all of the great products they are offering. Get everything from MyPillow blankets, sleepwear, kitchen towels, mattresses, duvets, pet beds, comforters, couch pillows, bathrobes, and so much more. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code Chicago to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
In 1796, George Washington made one of the most consequential decisions in American history. He chose not to seek a third term as president. So why does that matter? Because America was not built on permanent rulers. It was built on ordered liberty. Faith teaches that authority is a stewardship, not a possession. Leaders are accountable to God for how they use power. And why does that still matter today? Because republics survive when leaders respect limits and citizens defend them. Washington's lesson still stands. A republic is preserved when power has limits, and public service remains a duty to God and country, not a path to personal rule.
Your kitchen's outdated. Your bathroom feels cramped. Every day you wait, prices go up. And you keep living in a space that doesn't work. At Forever Remodeling, one team handles everything. Design, planning, and installation, start to finish. We show you your new space in 3D before we ever break ground. No surprises. With flexible financing options, the home you want is closer than you think. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com to schedule your personalized in-home design consultation.
AM 560, The Answer.
We had somebody say, what? If you don't vote, you don't get to complain. Well, I don't know about that, man. When the game is rigged and you're set up to lose no matter who you vote for, I think the only thing to do with any conscience is to abstain. This is why you get into these positions where the Republicans are just as low and just as scummy as the opposition.
North Carolina Republican Chuck Edwards is accused of sexual misconduct, harassment of young female staffers, and harboring a toxic work environment.
The complaint alleges that Edwards would frequently make comments about female staffers' weights and looks, text young staffers, quote, deeply romantic thoughts, and even shower them with expensive gifts and vacations. That included jewelry and a trip to New York to see Hamilton after one went through a breakup.
Now, Chuck Edwards, he's part of that whole, I'm going to rip Obamacare out by the root. What good did you do? You got to Washington, you paid your little comb over, you stupid-looking moron that you are, and you raised a tremendous amount of money that nobody can really see where it came from, a lot of these PACs and whatnot, and you blew it on teenagers, teenage girls. Now, do you vote for Chuck Edwards? Can you complain or do you not complain? How does that work? The problem we have is that we're backed into a system that we don't control. It's called the Republican Party writ large. And these are the scoundrels and scallywags that protect the people from decent choices. Whether it was Gary Rabine, whether it was Ted, or no matter who it is, they protect themselves to guarantee the flow of money, which is why they've not only not ripped out Obamacare, they helped finance it and fund it to this day.
A new Government Accountability Office report revealing fraud and security failures in the Obamacare marketplace. Investigators finding fake identities and stolen information were both used to access subsidies, impacting legitimate enrollees. Fox Business correspondent Connor Hansen has...
And by the way, during the Biden years, how many Republicans came out and told you what we now have to hear from the Trump administration officials who, by the way, happen to be Democrats? This is the beauty of Trump. There are no Democrats that are still Democrats. There are Democrats like RFK and Tulsi Gabbard There are people who realize that their party was a scam in the same way I realize the Republicans in Illinois are a scam, the Republicans in New Jersey and New York. These are the ones who are responsible for the lack of pushback against the American cancer of communism.
When my predecessor, Xavier Becerra, came into my agency, there were 80 people who were involved in program integrity, and that's not enough. That's 80 people to make sure nobody is stealing $1.3 trillion that we give away every year in 50 states and 5 territories. He transferred 74 of them out. When I came in, there's only 6 left. When his staff asked him about fraud, because we see the fraud every day, we can stop it, he said, we don't want to be paying attention to fraud. We want to focus on enrollments, enrolling more and more people. So this week, we found 1 million people enrolled in Medicaid who had no Social Security numbers.
Whoa.
So that means those people probably don't exist. It was just insurance companies and brokers stealing from our agency.
Wow.
Obamacare has 9.2 million. 9.2, they tout what? That they delivered insurance to 18 million? 9.2, illegitimate. Illegitimate. And they're on Obamacare. It was a lie from the beginning. But you knew that. It was written by American communists, Marxists, and Obama Democrats.
Politically, you just literally cannot do it. Okay? Transparent financing, unless I have transparent financing, also transparent spending. I mean, this bill was written in a tortured way to make sure CBO did not score the mandate as taxes. If CBO scored the mandate as taxes, the bill dies. Okay, so it's written to do that. In terms of risk-rated subsidies, if you had a law which said healthy people are going to pay in, it made explicit that healthy people pay in and sick people get money, it would not have passed. Okay, just like the lack of transparency is a huge political advantage. And basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever. But
that happened before it passed. It still passed. Republicans have been sent for 12 years, like Chuck Edwards. And what do? They diddle their secretary. Stop financing it. It's the only answer. And you start from high ground. Get to a decent county. If you can't get to a decent state, we'll be back.
Now that summer is here, it's time for some summer home maintenance.
That's cold!
Hot water issues? Call Center Guard Plumbing. Right now, get a new 40-gallon atmospheric vent water heater installed for just $1,295 standard installation, or a 50-gallon for $1,395 standard installation with free haul away of your old tank. A proud sponsor of AM 560, you'll save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on tankless and atmospheric vent water heaters with Center Guard Plumbing. Plus, get 10% off any licensed plumbing contractor competitor's price. Center Guard Plumbing is Chicagoland's same-day water heater experts. Call before noon and they can schedule your repair or install the same day on in-stock water heaters. You're only a text away from install today. Call 847-406-8883. Mention AM 560 to receive summer special pricing. That's 847-406-8883. Call or text 847-406-8883 or visit centerguardplumbing.com.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
In 1796, George Washington made one of the most consequential decisions in American history. He chose not to seek a third term as president. So why does that matter? Because America was not built on permanent rulers. It was built on ordered liberty. Faith teaches that authority is a stewardship, not a possession. Leaders are accountable to God for how they use power. And why does that still matter today? Because republics survive when leaders respect limits and citizens defend them. Washington's lesson still stands. A republic is preserved when power has limits, and public service remains a duty to God and country, not a path to personal rule.
Why does Progressive help support truckers? Because truckers unite the world. Truckers unite whistles and lifeguards. Truckers unite fitness devices with people who don't exercise. Truckers unite your aunt with those live, laugh, love signs. But truckers can't do any of this if they're not on the road. That's why Progressive helps safe truckers save an average of $6,181 when they elect to share their ELD data with us. Get a quote at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. 2025 National Average Safe Driver Enrollment Discount Savings for new Progressive customers excludes mandatory program participants. Not available in all states. Driving data could increase or decrease premiums at renewal.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
Don't miss Destination Retirement with Robert Kuhn every Sunday from 11 to 12. Robert has a different way of looking at retirement from most financial advisors and is happy to share his ideas with you every week. So don't miss what he has to say on AM 560 The Answer. Destination Retirement with Robert Kuhn, Sunday mornings from 11 to 12.
If stairs in your home are becoming difficult, there's a practical solution, and it doesn't have to come with pushy salespeople. Access provides dependable stair lifts designed to help you stay safely in the home you love. No gimmicks, no overselling, just honest guidance, quality equipment, and professional local installation. We'll explain your options, work within your budget, and let you decide what's right at your pace. For a straightforward, no pressure, free in-home consultation, call 630-616-6249 or visit allaboutaccess.com.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
You know, we talk about the global intifada. It's been there since 1979. My next guest understands this, and he has been on the front line fighting not just the enemy's foreign, the enemy's domestic. I really have to tell you, I've come to know him, and I so appreciate him more now than ever. President of the Institute for the American Future, President and CEO of Save the Persecuted Christians. We will be joined by Frank Gaffney to discuss not the nonsense that you can have an agreement with a cultist in Iran, but exactly how to push back against the financing of the enemy in Iran and the financing of the enemy right here in America. And I don't just mean Michigan or Minnesota, although those are good places to start. We'll discuss that and more with Frank Gaffney after Fox.
He was suspected in 2 other fires. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. That's what authorities in Washington state are saying about the man arrested and charged with setting the most destructive wildfire in Spokane's history.
The defendant, appearing by video from jail, gave his name for the record.
Aaron Forrest Farinacci.
He's been charged with intentionally setting the wildfire that has destroyed hundreds of structures and forced tens of thousands to evacuate areas near Spokane. County prosecutor Preston McCollum asked for
a bond amount of no less than $1 million.
Along with other conditions, which the judge agreed to after Farinacci's lawyer reserved the right to argue bond and conditions later. According to court records, Farinacci denied setting the wildfire.
Fox's Gernal Scott. Farinacci also served 10 years in prison after he was convicted of killing his father in 2010. Los Angeles County fire officials say sparks from an idle transmission tower owned by Southern California Edison caused the 2025 Eaton fire in Southern California. The utility has acknowledged its equipment may have been involved, but also said the lack of water kept fire crews from battling the blaze. The Eaton fire killed 19 people and destroyed more than 9,400 homes and businesses. Polls open for another hour in Michigan, where there is a high-stakes Democratic primary for an open congressional seat.
The candidates have all voted. Congresswoman Haley Stevens did so in person this morning, as did Republican Mike Rogers. Abdul Al-Sayed says he voted earlier absentee. He did attend a party Monday with like-minded influencers and content creators like progressive commentator Hassan Piker. Stevens says Al-Sayed should distance himself from Piker and that Piker's rhetoric should be denounced.
Fox's Rich Edson in Detroit. The winner of tonight's primary will face Republican Mike Rogers in November. America's listening to Fox News.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
On the inbound Kennedy, the exit ramp to Lawrence remains shut down due to a collapsed retaining wall. That is an hour and 5 going in. Outbound trip 50 minutes, and the crash at Irving is clear. Outbound Eden still looks good on the Eisenhower Post Office out to 390. That is a 48-minute trip with an accident at Gulf in the left lane. Stevenson going out 38 out to 355 in the outbound Ryan, 18 minutes. We are seeing delays still along DuSable Lakeshore Drive as well as the Tri-State either way. Northbound, though, is improving. Jane Addams and the Reagan look good. Southbound 355, a crash at North Avenue. Also northbound 53, an accident right before the Eisenhower. This report is a service of the AM 560 store. Order t-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Proft University and The Shaun Thompson Show, when you go to 560theanswer.com/store. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchek.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mostly cloudy and humid with a low of 69. On Wednesday, expect mainly cloudy skies and high humidity. There will be periods of rain and a thunderstorm in the morning, followed by a heavy thunderstorm later in the afternoon. Be cautious as downpours may reduce visibility and lead to ponding on roads. The high will reach 79 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
When it comes to supplements, two things matter most. A, that it works, and that you can trust it. Rather than just tell you about Relief Factor, we'll let our audience do that. We hear from people every single day whose lives have changed, and I want you to hear a few of their stories. Chris spent years doing physical work. It left his feet sore every day at the end of the day. After starting taking Relief Factor, he felt so good he did something he'd never done before. He ran half a marathon. Now he tells his friends about Relief Factor. I'm the same. Totally understand how Chris feels because I do it every day. I tell my friends how I was just with somebody that works at the White House and we were talking about Relief Factor. We're both like, is that not an amazing product? And they make it really easy now for you to find out if you can be the next person that's telling us about Relief Factor and how it gave you your life back. 3 weeks, $17.76. Try it. ReliefFactor.com, 800-4RELIEF. You'll connect with their friendly local team, and they'll do everything they can to help. We hope you soon will be sharing your story with us as well. ReliefFactor.com.
Insurance came out about the roof. Offered us $15,000. I was thrilled.
I know it seems like a lot, but I'm not sure that number is that generous. Insurance is usually going to lowball you.
I mean, I already found 2 companies who could replace it for that.
Sure, contractors will make it fit that budget, but they're cutting corners to make it work.
How's that?
Cheap materials, lower grade shingles with a poor warranty, reusing old flashing, cheap underlayment.
How would I even know?
You wouldn't. That's exactly why I'd call New Edge Improvement. They'll go through your insurance quote line by line, catch what's being cut, and fight to get you covered. You have a beautiful home, and New Edge Improvement will do a quality install and help you get the roof you're owed. One that matches the quality of what you had.
Thanks. I'll give New Edge Improvement a call.
New Edge Improvement. Visit them today at newedgeimprovement.com. Again, that's newedgeimprovement.com and tell them AM 560 sent you.
Now, from The Signature, a division of Esquire Bank Studios.
This hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag.
My next guest is somebody who I appreciate more today than I did in 1987. 1987 was a big year. I had been out of high school for a little while and paying attention to politics. And I remember when I had just bought a Halston Z14 Squirrel cologne set that had cologne, aftershave, and a shampoo, for the girls. Fauci comes out. He says, HIV is airborne. I said, who's this stupid son of a gun? And then I heard another announcement in the government, and it was that Ronald Reagan had tapped Frank Gaffney to be part of his Secretary of Defense team in the Reagan administration. So I said, okay, we'll take the bad with the good. Well, the good is on the line. President of the Institute for the American Future, President and CEO of Save the Persecuted Christians, Frank Gaffney. You remember when that pickle face tried to destroy my sex life?
I wouldn't have associated that particular year with that particular problem, but
come on,
I do remember the year.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
you were just getting out of knickers, and I've been living for a while actually.
One year, I got my job at the Merck.
Pain.
Yeah, I got my job at the Merck. I was making a little coin, had a bright future, just starting to date anything other than cheerleaders from Catholic high school. And here he comes. HIV is airborne. Do you remember when he said kids could catch it from their parents or kids could give it to their parents? It was airborne.
Yeah.
He said HIV was airborne. Then he prevented homosexuals and people inflicted with AIDS from getting the proper drugs, which inspired a great movie called The Dallas Buyers Club. However, that was just the beginning of his career of escapades and destruction to American health, wasn't it?
It certainly was, and he went on to bigger and worse things by far, and we've learned more and more and more about it, of course, in recent days. And then there was this stunning Fifth Amendment spectacle, which tells you just how guilty he was in doing so much of this, genocidal harm, not just to our countrymen and women, for heaven's sakes, but to an awful lot of other people around the world as well. Millions and millions of them.
So I personally enjoy the Fifth. I remember, I'm old enough to remember when men would say it when they were accused of being mafia heads. You remember that? So I found a montage after he had said it of all the real gangsters who went on to be known and books written about them. And they said the same thing that Fauci said. And I laughed my ass off because to me it was a confession more than anything else. But it solidified all of our allegations, all the accusations made by me from day one. It was obvious to me that this was a pandemic. This was an orchestrated, government-created and financed bioweapon. And there needs to be ramifications for this. I'm curious to know this other moron that worked for the government since the 90s, I forget his name, it escaped me. I played the clip yesterday. He's indicted, and I think the underlings will be indicted, and that's great. But they collaborated and colluded with Chinese Communist Party members, making this a conspiracy. There is no statute of limitations. And ultimately, I think thousands of people need to be indicted and arrested and tried for treason. Do you?
I do. And, the interesting thing about those mafia guys is I think the only one, I believe, who surpassed Fauci in the number of times they pled the Fifth before Congress was one of the Dons, and so it puts him in that league.
Was it crazy Joe Gallo? I think it was, but go ahead.
It may have been. But what it is evidence that not only was the bioweapon virus coming out of that laboratory and designed to kill large numbers of people, including Americans, of course, but so was the vaccine.
Correct.
I mean, that's the dirty little secret, is that the vaccine was substantially manufactured in China. And they own the intellectual property, and they were killing people with the so-called cure for the disease as well as the disease. So they made money both ways, as did Fauci, apparently.
I was just reading a thing that I think it's Moderna had a patent on that, not the spike protein, the other thing, the cleavage or whatever the hell it was, that was found in both in COVID itself, that they owned a patent on that technology, and that technology could never have been created in nature. It was specifically created. But there is a liaison. There's a vestibule of this corruption. It's not just Peter Daszak. It's Eco Health Alliance, which is a publicly traded company. And, it's funny. They fired Peter Daszak, and they used the evidence that Congress brought up Fauci on before he got his pardon to fire him. But I don't think that they should be abstained. They were the conduit. They were the bag man of all of this. I mean, people have to start to be indicted. And it's not just these people. It's people within the government that helped facilitate this. It's people within our CIA that helped facilitate this. This is all in the documentation. And, this is something you and I have discussed in the past. I'm going to tell you right now, to me, a lot of this traces back to old man Bush, which I never liked him. I don't know if his son is smart enough. I don't think he is. But I do think that Dick Cheney was. And I think this is a bipartisan issue. And if we really dig at the root of this, how many legacy names could we pull out of the scandal that is COVID?
I don't have any idea, but I think it's bigger than one. That's for sure. And you're right. Look, I think Fauci's pardon is not a get-out-of-jail-free card. He's obviously anticipating that it will be, but they are going to be, I think, surprised that there is prosecution that is going to be done of him and underlings. And, going back to the mafia business, what is unquestionably true is that the mafia underlings turn on the capo di capo, in the end of something that is going to be, a crime of the century, well, possibly a crime of the millennium, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, the other thing, too, that we reflect on, right? I play those clips, right? Those are actual guys who were labeled mafia, but what were they in essence? They were loan sharks. They were bookmakers. They were delivering booze, and then they got into drugs. But they never had what the Obama limp-wristed mafia had, which was the power of the prosecutor and the power of judges. So to me, it's a different world, right? Because after all, we're still pretending that this babbling buffoon, election thief, illegitimate, as I've called from day one, Joe Biden, as he was incapacitated, more so than Woodrow Wilson was, whose wife was the president for 18 months. Joe Biden could never issue a pardon. He didn't have the faculties to even stand trial by his own government, who identified it. Now they released those tapes. He was a babbling idiot before the election. So if we don't, in essence, go back to square one where we were cheated the first time, which is election night 2020, and rip out the lie that is the Biden administration, now you could tear apart all of the protections that are up, including the appointments of unqualified mafia members posing as federal judges. You could really cause a stir if you had the fortitude, testicle fortitude as it's called in my neighborhood, to move forward with what needs to be done. Don't you think?
I do. And I think that, again, this is the crucible in which that's going to be done. If it's not done between now and the election, forget about it. Especially if this goes as bad as some people are predicting. And I don't know that it will, but if it does, there's not going to be any, righting of the ship. This will be continuing to be concealed, excused, and otherwise enabled. And that can't be allowed to happen.
No, and what's fascinating, it's the same problem, right? We pretend there's legitimacy where there is none. And it's to me as much of a confession as Fauci pleading the fifth when you have states, what are they, 20 states, 29 states, suing the federal government to not turn over the voter rolls, which are nothing more than a veneer of legitimacy after they steal the election the way they did in 2020. So for me, to pretend that you're ever going to get an honest election out of Chicago, out of Cook County, out of Illinois, it's almost as ridiculous as pretending you're going to get one out of New Jersey or New York or Minnesota. Sadly, fallen recently, but fallen very, very hard. And it stems back to the other issue. These enemies of America, these modern domestic communist enemies and global intifadists, they're very well financed, and that traces back to the acorn known as Barack Obama's administration. When you look at what Obamacare did to expand and give the opportunity for the Somalian pirates, the thieves in L.A., the thieves in New Jersey, New York, Philly, Chicago, wherever, he made them very, very rich. It isn't just the foreign scoundrels that made money on our policies created under Obama. It's the domestic ones. So what I like is it seems to me that Oz and RFK and Trump are aware of this. And maybe if we could just shut off that money flow, we could maybe dent it, don't you think?
I think that the following the money line is always a prudent approach. And if we have the fortitude, testicular or otherwise, to actually go after it, yes, I do think it would have a very salutary effect. And it probably would across party lines. I think you're right about that too, Shaun. But here's the thing that I just want to impress upon people, particularly as we are likely on the cusp of having a Marxist jihadist nominated by the Democrats of the state of Michigan to be the next United States senator from that state. This is the tipping point, it seems to me, for a course correction that has to be taken. And one of the things I'm really pleased to be able to announce on your program is we have been working now for the better part of 6 months, I guess, on a campaign we call Save Texas, Save America, because we started it in Texas and we're working in the first phase of it. Shaun, you may remember back in March, there was a Republican primary ballot, Proposition 10, that just had 5 words to it.
Yes.
Texas should prohibit Sharia law. And 1.9 million Texans voted yes on that proposition. That's a booster rocket for phase 2, which is what we've just started today. People can learn more about it at bansharia.com. It is a campaign aimed at educating the public about Sharia, what it is, the danger that it represents, the fact that it is metastasizing, not just in Texas, but across the country. But that, secondly, it needs to be made a voting issue, that we are going to ban it. And that's a shorthand way of talking about what you have to do. But you have to prevent illegal activity. To talk about the mafia, the illegal activity that is what virtually every aspect of the behavior of the so-called perfect man of Islam, the Prophet Muhammad, it was all illegal. You know, it was sedition, it was child beating, it was, child marriage, it was rape on an epic scale, and slavery, and, on and on. And we need now to enforce the law. And I would just say to this impending senator, or at least candidate for the Senate from Michigan, you can either be a Sharia supremacist, which he patently is, or you can honorably and truthfully take the oath of office.
Wow.
But you can't be both.
You can't have a liar take an oath.
That's a line of attack that should be used, I think.
Well, absolutely.
No, you can't have a liar, period. But especially when it's condoned, it's obligatory to lie if it advances their program, the Sharia program.
Frank, I grew up in an interesting neighborhood. All right, I mean, there were great human beings, hardworking, wonderful, 80-90%. But then we had those scallywag, half-ass gangsters, all in bed with the daily mafia, right? So I was an okay golfer way back when I was a kid. A friend of mine says, let's go golfing. All right, we're going to go golfing. We're going to play with these 2 guys. He says, I'm going to put up the money and we'll play. I said, okay. So now I get there, and I recognize a couple of the guys. There are two guys we're playing with, our older guys. One guy's got the pock face, big, tough guy. And I had seen him on a news clip a month earlier where they arrested
him. A wanted poster, probably.
Where they arrested him. Yeah. He was out on bail, right, for laundering and gambling, loan shark, collections. So he's in the woods, and I hear the club. I see the leaves. All of a sudden, the ball comes out, lands right on the green. And I get up there and we tell everybody where you got. He goes, I got a 5. You got a 5? I heard you take 3 strokes in the thing. I told my buddy we got in the cart. He wouldn't cheat, will he? He said he'll kill people. You don't think he'll cheat on a golf score? You can't get an honest read from somebody who spends their life lying, cheating, stealing, and murdering. So to pretend that an American Democrat can take an oath is as preposterous as pretending an Islamo-Nazi can. What we need to have done is Trump is now releasing the information that was stifled during the illegitimate Biden years. Their machines are cooked. They stole votes from them in Michigan. Michigan has Whitmer, her best friend, $25 million in a policy. Just arrest the people. Election, seize the machines, arrest the ballots. Just let's not even pretend it's a legitimate, whatever they say comes out of that dung hole. What do you think?
I think that it better be done before you get to that point. You got to fix this system before you're into the mode of trying to unscramble the cheating that took place. And that means whether it's the SAVE Act or whether it's a national security executive order or whether it's something else to be determined, this has to be done with respect to those machines, with respect to the mail-in ballots, with respect to counterfeiting the ballots, with respect to the dead and other, illegals on the voting rolls. All of it has to be cleaned up, and it has to be cleaned up now.
How about the counterfeiting ballots? Hundreds of millions of freaking ballots come in through China. landing in O'Hare Airport. I mean, it's almost a comedy act. And now we're going to bite our nails and wonder how the election turns out. It's why I don't have Democrats on my program. I don't even want to pretend there's any legitimacy to it. And I'm wondering, that's the same approach we should take with these Shiite happens in Iran. Don't you think so? I mean, who are we exactly talking to? What's the point of having an agreement? What do you say we just take it over and we send the global intifadas we have in this country right there to Iran? Here you go. We'll call it the 51st state and cut our losses. What do you think?
I think it's a little too glib, but I do think that you got to stop the pretense that there is any possibility of something good coming out of these negotiations. You finish the job. You help liberate the people of Iran, and with a little bit of luck, there's enough of them that want to be part of, well, Western civilization, that they're going to be done with this jihadist stuff, with certainly the 12er version of jihad, which calls for apocalypse now, and that, actually proves to be on the side of good for a long time difference, 40, whatever it is. 47 years. This has to be done now, too.
Well, I go on and I watch what our boys are doing over there. It's unbelievable. I mean, they're annihilating everything. And, American media doesn't talk about it. I've got a clip from yesterday. This kid wipes out an entire convoy from his fighter jet. Pickle's gone. I mean, he just wipes out 100 Iranian Islamo-Nazis. And we know that, much like Mitch McConnell, nobody can really find the Ayatollah asshat number 3 or whatever the hell he was. Who exactly are we talking to, and why is it we can't get the information of just how many are dead? We know monetarily, they admitted today, what is it, $300 billion in a country that, what's it worth when their GDP is half of Walmart's revenue in a year? So we've annihilated any sense of infrastructure or civilization. Who exactly are we negotiating with? Who's left? And why don't we just kill them?
I'll tell you who we're negotiating with. We're negotiating with the Qataris. We're negotiating with the Turks. We're negotiating with the Pakistanis. All of whom
Tucker
are
Carlson?
For the
we're negotiating
regime.
with Tucker Carlson?
Well,
he's
he's
financed
in
by
that
all
mix
of them.
somewhere.
Yeah, he's
I don't know
financed
that he's
by all
at
of
the
them.
table, but he's certainly playing with that team. That's for sure. But that's the problem here. I'm afraid that the president, and I'd throw in an ambassador by the name of Tom Barrack, who I think is doing incalculable harm. He's supposed to be representing us in Turkey, well, Turkey and Lebanon and Syria and Iraq. He's representing Erdogan, the dictator of Turkey, full stop. And then there's Steve Witkoff, who I don't believe he could find his ass with two hands. But the problem is he's the guy that the president is relying on, and his, son-in-law, and I think his son. I mean, this is not the kind of direct, clear, pro-American counsel that the president of the United States needs to navigate this difficult trouble. And I think that he needs better advice. And when he gets it, he's going to realize that there's no substitute for victory over this regime. And anything short of that is just a pause till they're back at their throats the next time. And probably it won't be that long, especially in the run-up to this election. Shaun, they're going to do everything they can to humiliate him at the very least, if not to actually wreak havoc in our country, with the certitude that will screw up his reelect. Or not reelect, but his success in the midterms is the point.
You know what's funny is these nameless ambassadors. Tom Dittmer used to be the president of REFCO. And he was the one who facilitated that fraudulent Hillary Clinton cattle trade where she made all that money back in the 90s when she was just, you remember that? And then after Clinton wins, Tom Dittmer's wife becomes the ambassador of Gatsangul somewhere in Europe, and she's off shopping. So what was the name of that ambassador in Turkey? And what's the under-over? He comes back with hair like Gabe Cotter and Welcome Back Cotter. What was his name?
No. Tom Barrack.
There's
another billionaire real estate guy. No. This is a friend of Trump. This is one of his real estate cronies, and he's
I'm in
got
real estate. Nobody offered me an
longstanding ties.
ambassadorship. Come on.
Yeah, you didn't turn out so well. It's the problem. You're not corrupt. You're not working for the enemy. That's
making car payments till they zip up the bag. What are you going to do, Frank? What are you going to do? But the good news is we win in the end because we understand the problem, we identify the problem, and you can always fix the problem. We've been closer to fixing it than at any time in our history, so there is an upside to where we are. We just got to get rid of Tom Barrack. He'll be easy to identify. He's the only ambassador with an afro. What do you think?
I think we got to get rid of him, that's for sure. And, frankly, I'd change out the whole negotiating team and stop thinking that the Qataris, the Pakistanis, to say nothing of the Turks, are actually our allies. They're batting for the Sharia supremacists. And by the way, they're enabling their assault on America from within. That's what the Muslim Brotherhood is about, is destroying Western civilization by our hands and the hands of the believers so that Allah's religion is made victorious over all other religions. That was their playbook back in 1991, and they are still executing on it brilliantly. And we've got to stop them.
Well, they're not producing...
That's where our campaign, bansharia.com, comes in. So check it out, folks.
Frank Gaffney, I love the fact that you do this and that you continue to make yourself available to me. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate you giving us this knowledge because you've been fighting for it for almost half a century, you handsome son of a gun. So thank you for making time.
God bless you, my friend. Look forward to doing it again.
Thank you. We'll be back with your calls and comments.
Broadcasting from the petri dish of corruption known as the state of Illinois.
In the upper Midwest, the nation, and around the world.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
What do parents think of back to school at Staples, where 24-pack Crayola crayons are just 50 cents?
Staples has folders, notebooks, and pens at great prices.
I'm smiling from ear to ear.
It's the most wonderful time.
Mom, I missed the bus of the year.
It's a wonderful time at Staples, where school supplies start at just 25 cents. Staples.
That was easy.
Visit your local Staples today or shop online and in the app. Ends 9/12. Exclusions apply.
Bottles are filling and payroll's next. Whoa, what the?
I'm you with more gusto.
What's with the leather jacket?
It's kind of my new vibe, which, by the way, switch to Gusto for payroll.
Switch? Oh, that's always such a headache.
With Gusto, it's effortless. Kind of like looking cool in this jacket. Payroll, benefits, even 401k. Simple.
Can I try it on?
Gusto? Sure. The jacket? No. Switch to effortless payroll. Choose a future with Gusto.
I know you've heard the line, we're on a mission from God. Here in Chicago, that means something. But for me, it's real. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy, and I'm on a mission from God to help business owners achieve their American dream. Because every day I see the same thing. Unfiled returns, confusing numbers, IRS letters stacking up. Not because business owners are doing anything wrong, but because they're overwhelmed. Here's what I've learned after helping hundreds of business owners. There is always a solution, but you can't reach it until you take control. That's why I built a system to take you from chaos to control. Go to fightbacknow.com and get started. I'll show you exactly what to do, step by step. No guessing, no confusion, just a clear path forward. Go to fightbacknow.com and I'll send you my new book, Fight Back Now, Freedom Through Preparation. Just cover the shipping. I'll take care of the rest. Or if you want to talk to someone right now, call 312-664-6649. Fightbacknow.com, because chaos is the only thing standing in your way.
The following contains a celebrity impersonation.
Mr. President, we're seeing reporting that air conditioning systems are failing as temperatures rise. What is your response?
I said, don't wait. People wait until the last second, then suddenly it's hot and nothing works. I understand this stuff, probably better than anybody.
Mr. President, why hasn't the White House issued any guidance?
I gave perfect guidance. Call Air Right Heating and Cooling. That's the guidance. If people followed it, we wouldn't even be talking about this.
Sir, but homeowners have so many HVAC options.
They're not like Air Right. You've got some bad installers out there, some real bad hombres. I wouldn't let them near the White House. It would be a complete disaster.
Mr. President, there are reports of significant rebates on new systems. Can you confirm?
I've heard about them. A lot of people talking about them. If you miss out, you'd have to be really not so smart. Tremendous savings, let me tell you.
Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling at AIR-RITE.com. Air Right. Doing it right since 1959.
Foundations of Freedom. A look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
In 1796, George Washington made one of the most consequential decisions in American history. He chose not to seek a third term as president. So why does that matter? Because America was not built on permanent rulers. It was built on ordered liberty. Faith teaches that authority is a stewardship, not a possession. Leaders are accountable to God for how they use power. And why does that still matter today? Because republics survive when leaders respect limits and citizens defend them. Washington's lesson still stands. A republic is preserved when power has limits, and public service remains a duty to God and country, not a path to personal rule.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
This is what I love about talking about Shaun Fest, because all you can really control when the system is corrupted is your own actions and your own decisions. Now, you know how I feel about what will save Illinois is secession, county secession. But people poo-poo that. Well, then what's your plan when you got the body double, the J.B. Pritzker running for governor? The good news is you can make a decision to come together. Us, come together. There will be no scumbags. I will not let political whores in to tell you how great they are when all they have is a history of stabbing you in the back. There will only be decent people August 28th at the Lakeside Pavilion right behind the Westin in Itasca. That's when you and I and all of our little family members can come together. We do the show live. Food is available. Drinks are available. You have to register. We don't want any illegal aliens there. We certainly don't want any Islamo-Nazis. We just want the good people who can make it. Turns out we've got people coming from 8 different states. The Westin in Itasca is a hotel. You can get a room if you'd like. Make a night of it. I'm going to stay there as long as I have to. I cannot wait to see you there. We have a band that's going to play. We have somebody else who's going to sing the national anthem. Every interview I do will be live there. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. All you have to do, it's free. All you have to do is go to 560theanswer.com/ShaunFest. That's 560theanswer.com/ShaunFest. And it wouldn't be possible without you and our sponsors. Now, I'm just going to name a few, even though I know more will be there. Randy Donnelly will be there. Hochberg will be there. Virago is helping us make this happen. Dr. Huber, wonderful man. LeavingI-L.com will be there. Real estate agent, great guy. State Farm Insurance agent Anthony DeGrotto. What a wonderful kid. Big patriot. Love it. Unique Wooden Flags. Class A Insurance. Tommy and TJ Iaquinta. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. And you will be there. All you have to do, 560theanswer.com/SHAUNFEST. See you August 28th. When we get back, 312-642-5600. I'll take your calls and comments as long as you're not a traitor in my country. After Mike Scott.
Good evening, Shaun. In our QC Kinetics newsroom tonight, clouds and a low of 68. A Senate committee voted today to advance Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche's nomination to officially become head of the Justice Department.
This was the Senate Judiciary Committee. They voted 12-10. All Republicans voted to advance Todd Blanche's nomination to the full Senate floor, which will happen later this week. All Democrats opposed this nomination.
Michigan residents deciding today who they want to advance to November's general election for an open seat in the Senate. Michigan Republican Senate candidate Mike Rogers running unopposed.
Whoever comes out of this is going to have to put their own coalition together. And oh, by the way, we've been working toward that September voting date. They're going to have to figure out how they do that in a short order.
Rogers says he believes he'll be able to defeat whoever the Democrat nominee is. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson's budget director is stepping down. Annette Guzman is resigning to focus on her family. Cubs take on Tarek Skubal and the Dodgers tonight. Southsiders battle the Red Sox. The News is a service of the AM 560 store. Order T-shirts, hoodies, and more when you go to 560theanswer.com/store. Next news at 7. Continuous news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. And up next, the latest on your evening commute. In the traffic center, here's Jill.
It's wide open on the Edens going out. The Kennedy is a 40-minute trip out to the airport. Eisenhower Post Office to 390, 45 minutes. And the inbound Stevenson at LaGrange, an accident in the right lane. 45 in from 355, the reverse, 45 as well. Outbound Ryan, 25, express tight. 51st to Marquette. Heavy outbound 4 through the construction, 115th to Sibley. And delays remain on DuSable Lakeshore Drive either way. Tri-State South is snug into North Avenue. Northbound looks good. Scattered delays eastbound Reagan and southbound 355. Southbound 53, a crash at Palatine in the right lane. Eastbound 80, accident at Harlem on the side. This report is a service of the AM 560 mobile app. Listen to AM 560 on your smartphone or mobile device when you download the AM 560 mobile app at 560theanswer.com/mobile. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchek.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight, expect mostly cloudy skies with high humidity and a low temperature of 69. Moving into Wednesday, the day will be mainly cloudy and humid with rain and a thunderstorm in the morning, followed by a heavy thunderstorm later in the afternoon. Be cautious as downpours may lead to reduced visibility and ponding on roads. The high temperature will reach 79 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
A riddle brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common? Progressive protects them both. It was an easy riddle. Learn more at Progressive.com.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $3 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
You know what really keeps me up at night? It's the criminals feel more and more bold. They have no fear of any consequences because there are none. So I did what anyone with a family should do. I called Goldilocks. They're not just some cookie-cutter security company. Goldilocks has been protecting Chicagoland homes and businesses for 4 decades, 40 years. And they actually listen. Their technician comes out to the house. He takes a look at what you need to make your house a smart home with a security system you can monitor from anywhere. It's built specifically for me and my family. Motion sensors, smart locks, cameras, monitoring, all customized. I don't trust anybody in Illinois to protect my family. I do it, and I did it by calling Goldilocks. I trust Goldilocks to keep my house, my property, and my family safe. Tell them Shaun Thompson sent you, and Goldilocks will include 3 months free monitoring with any new installation. Call Goldilocks at 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Or visit them online at GoldilocksInc.com.
Maybe you've thought about taking a cruise. Maybe you've even talked yourself out of it. But this is not just another vacation. This is the Gulf of America cruise. 7 days through the Caribbean with Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, Jennifer Horn, and a ship full of people who love this country. No packing and unpacking, no complicated planning, just great destinations, meaningful conversations, and a once-in-a-generation celebration of America's 250th. This November, be there. Text CRUISE to 94878 to book your cabin today. Now, from The Signature, a division of Esquire Bank Studios.
This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Inherited a coin collection? Sell to global bidders for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Luke Bronin, you know who he is? You wouldn't. He's the mayor of Hartford, Connecticut. He's a Democrat. It's amazing how all these Democrat men could easily look like a transvestite or the ad against pedophiles. I mean, what a creepy-looking bastard. And he's a lawyer. Ooh, a lawyer. Yale.
We have to abolish ICE because it has become a lawless paramilitary of this president. And we need the comprehensive immigration reform that we all know we need. Immediate citizenship for dreamers. I think immediate citizenship for those who've been here on temporary protected status for many years. Much wider pathways for legal immigration. An asylum.
We have 8 pathways. Talk like this and say the same thing people have been saying for 45 years. You stupid son of a pig. You know, anybody can be a Democrat. The least among us are Democrats. They're zombies. They're morons. They're the useful idiots to the Leviathan. But anybody can be a lawyer. Listen to this fracking idiot. Hey, moron! There are 8 pathways to come here legally. The only reason anybody would come here illegally when there are 8 pathways is for anonymity and to be a scoundrel and a useful scumbag to you, the Democrat Party. Mission accomplished. Chris,
I'm a lawyer.
Orland Park. Yes, you are.
Hey, Shaun, I got 4 quick things for you.
Oh,
last year, the Stone Cold What audio I heard. That one didn't get by me. I loved it.
All right, thank you. Go ahead.
Second, the Spokane fire. How many guys have started these forest fires? How about we take the next guy and put him on a tree and burn him?
Minute.
Let's see what the
Just
next
1
guy
second.
does.
1 second. California right now. California, in just convictions, not accusations, because Palisades, the judge protected the scumbag who set that fire. Okay? Convictions. It's over 600,000 acres that people have been found guilty for setting the fires. Think about that. And one of them was a teacher at USC, a professor. This is just the latest in the scum. And you know why? Because they're still calling it wildfires. It fits the agenda of the other thing Trump cured, global warming, climate change, proving the only thing dangerous to nature is the same thing that's dangerous to mankind, the American commie. But go ahead.
I read another article, sidebar here, that there was another fire out in California. They finally ruled it was like an out of place electric tower, whatever. The wires caught fire, and that's how that started. So, again, how many times did people tell you to bury the wires, but nobody does anything? So,
very interesting. Very interesting.
My other one, have you heard about the Fresh plant? Chicago's running out for $70 million.
Is it more money for nothing and food for free?
Oh, yeah. If you lost your SNAP benefits, you get a $400 check in the mail until the money runs out. So I'm going to take a stab. It runs out the day after elections after you pull a D and hope for your check in the mail.
Yeah. Well, you know what's fascinating is that $1.5 billion the federal government gives to the useless suck-ons in Chicago, just Chicago, to buy food. $1.5 billion a year, every year. And they can't manage to keep a grocery store in business. Why could that be? I mean, now you don't have to be Basil Rathbone to figure out the scumbag is selling it for 30 cents on the dollar. They're not buying the food. But go ahead.
No, I mean that's not even a federal government's job to be supplying money to states for this. That's not anywhere written. But anyway, I know you don't like sports, but you got to see this Clay Travis if you know who he is. He said he's
country music singer?
$10 million for a huh?
Is he a country music singer?
No. Clay Travis. No, he's like a Clay and Buck podcast on 560. He might even be a 560. Anyway.
You're talking about the CIA guy who fills in for Rush Limbaugh. That's who you're talking about. Now I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
For $10 million, he says he's going to buy a WNBA team called the Nashville Balls, the most inclusive team there's ever been, and he's going to put them in the NBA just to stick it to them.
Yeah, because they now want
anybody would pay for this.
Yeah, it's interesting.
This would be hilarious.
Oh, come on. You can't get enough. Thank you. You can't get enough laughs. By the way, it is in the federal government. The federal government sends the money to the states for welfare. The state of Illinois doesn't pay for welfare. Medicaid, Medicare, the welfare benefits that Pritzker takes credit for, the federal government pays it. In fact, when you include grants, the federal government sends more money to Illinois than Illinois state budget, and nobody knows where the fracking money is. That's why the system has always been set up to fail. It's a set-up socialism. We already have socialism. It exists wherever the welfare roaches known as Democrats are. And to guarantee it, they steal elections. This was tweeted out by Trump Squirrel today about the 2020 election in Michigan, which tells you don't bite your nails if it's going to be Chris Farley or the Islamo-Nazi. There is no election where Democrats are in charge. There is a selection.
We've proved now that there was direct access to the Antrim County election management system because we show on November 5th, we can see it in the forensic images, that an anonymous user logged onto the EMS remotely with escalated privileges and made changes to the database when they were trying to retabulate the election. So that's one huge development because now we prove that the machines were remotely accessed, and more importantly, they were remotely accessed by an anonymous user who had elevated privileges in the system.
Ooh, was it an elected or selected Biden administration asshats suck on? By the way, Joe Biden is here to sing happy birthday to Barack Obama. Today's Barack Obama's birthday, right? At least on the birth certificate that we have concocted out of Hawaii.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
And he can't remember his name because he has soily trousers. 312-642-5600.
Thanks, Obama.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, guys. This is the Rocket Roger Clemens. You don't pitch in the majors for 24 years without feeling it later. Shoulders, elbows, knees. Trust me, pain doesn't retire when you do.
That's baseball legend Roger Clemens.
I tried the ice. I tried rest, PT, nothing really worked. When I heard about QC Kinetics, the concept sounded promising. Non-surgical regenerative treatments that help your body heal itself without surgery. Sign me up, just what I needed, real lasting relief.
Whether you're a former pro, a weekend golfer, or just want to walk around pain-free again, QC Kinetics uses cutting-edge technology and natural biologics to help restore and repair damaged tissue.
I trusted them with my joints. Now I'm back doing what I love.
Call QC Kinetics today and schedule your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 312-827-6261. That's 312-827-6261. 312-827-6261.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
In 1796, George Washington made one of the most consequential decisions in American history. He chose not to seek a third term as president. So why does that matter? Because America was not built on permanent rulers. It was built on ordered liberty. Faith teaches that authority is a stewardship, not a possession. Leaders are accountable to God for how they use power. And why does that still matter today? Because republics survive when leaders respect limits and citizens defend them. Washington's lesson still stands. A republic is preserved when power has limits, and public service remains a duty to God and country, not a path to personal rule.
MyPillow is celebrating our country's 250th anniversary with savings up to 50% off their made-in-the-USA products. For example, get the queen-size premium MyPillow for $18.98 and the king-size for just $1 more. Get body pillows with a free pillowcase for only $39.98. Get the MyPillow mattress topper for as low as $99.99 and $80 off the MyCross. All made right here in the USA. But there is so much more. In fact, they have over 200 products. Go to MyPillow.com and use promo code Chicago or call 800-489-0201 to check out all of the great products they are offering. Get everything from MyPillow blankets, sleepwear, kitchen towels, mattresses, duvets, pet beds, comforters, couch pillows, bathrobes, and so much more. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code Chicago to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products.
AM 560, The Answer.
Michigana! Election theft, Democrat enclaves. Take a look at a Wisconsin 2020 election map, and you'll see the cancer of corruption. That's Mao Zedong. She love you hong time, and she hates Thanksgiving. I like Thanksgiving, don't you, Squirrel? I not only enjoy the food, I celebrate the idea that we tried to get along with the savages, and then we motz them.
You know, you talked about your past positions that he keeps highlighting and, you know, obviously likely would continue to do so before November should you win. One thing that they brought up as well was a post from you in 2021 where you said Americans should cancel Thanksgiving, should have done this in 1621. The post has been deleted. Republicans have been highlighting it. Do you still believe that Thanksgiving...
Squirrel, did you get the Finding Nemo, just keep swimming, swimming? Did you see her face? She looks like I saw her in Finding Nemo, that fish-eyed son of a gun.
...should be canceled?
I'm a chef, and one of the first meals that I made that was for the community when I was 16 was a...
Was it borscht? What do communists eat? Was it borscht? Was it plantains? I hear that's big in Cuba until they ran out of bananas. What do you got there, commie? You're not known for your cuisine.
Thanksgiving meal. You know, I always think my hospitality background in owning a restaurant for 7-8 years, that bringing folks around the table.
And then what happened to the restaurant? Like everything else communists touch, bankrupt, out of business, empty storefront. And she's going to do it to everybody in Wisconsin who has a storefront. As for the suck-ons, well, they're down with this. They're just looking for a reason to steal everything, including Thanksgiving. After all, Wisconsin is the home of what did that Hassan Piker fraud, Islamo-Nazi scumbag who never worked a day in his life call it? Sewer socialism. I think that's the perfect name for every American Democrat area. After all, they live like they're in a sewer.
Look, I know about sewer socialism. This is where it was invented, right? That's right. Municipal socialism.
Municipal socialism.
Now, look, nowadays when you think about this kind of thing...
Shut the hell up, you punk bastard. Never did anything in your life. These are the people who subscribe to the philosophy of envy and greed, and they root and cheer for the perpetrator every time, no matter where they are, even Shirakistan.
Oh, we! Don't hit him! Don't hit him! Don't hit him! You being recorded! You being recorded!
Scum of the country! All in one area known as a Democrat area. It's really amazing. Here's the good news. When you buy stuff during an election year, the abusers, your slave masters, take the taxes off.
You know, the war in Iran, the tariffs, the federal corruption, and lax antitrust policies in Washington have caused rising prices of everything, from groceries to gas to housing to really everyday necessities.
And you know, Squirrel, all of these things he lists, they're cheaper where I live with the tax. Because I don't have to pay the cost of corruption of Democrat scallywags. So for all the people go, you know, you don't really tell. I've been telling you forever. You can't live among them. They are in control of the government. They will lie, they will cheat, and they will steal. And they have supporters of the most envious among us. The American Democrat constituent zombie fraud who just wants to eat for free. We'll be back in 21.
Hey, Chicagoland, Jeff from Jeff Buys Your House. If you're helping a parent or loved one move into senior living, you're dealing with a lot.